I'm gonna just join the stage. Son, what's up, man? How are you doing? Oh, you saw the tutorial. Dude, I thought that algorithm didn't show to anyone, so I'm very happy that you guys saw it. And we're definitely gonna chat about this. Should we just start? What do you guys think? Feel yeah, feels like yeah. Um, Nistan, question for you before we officially get started. And Wolfram, I don't know if you're anon or what, but Nistan, I know you're not anon. Nistan, you wanna show up on the video as well? I sent the link to in the group chat. So folks, excuse us. We're trying a new thing. We're trying to cross stream and X Spaces and also a live stream on the YouTube and X as well. So Nisa, I'm gonna send you a link. So if you do wanna show up, just jump on there, and I'm gonna DM you right now, and then we're gonna get started. Ah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Raccoon Eyes. All right, and Wolfram, you're obviously also welcome, but feel free to say no if you are, because I think I saw you on the chat and you weren't, you were none as well. All right, folks. So, welcome to new community members who are stepping into our space as well. We have the new ThursdAI community on X. This is a new thing. I'm very excited about this. For folks who are in this community for a while and haven't understood like what's happening, yeah, I kind of decided like, hey, I have this community. I want to pin this to that X gives all these benefits to the community. One of them is like community spaces. So it looks like all of the folks who are signing up to spaces can sign up anyway, but the community members will get a notification regardless of whether or not they have they have subscribed. I think that that's the case. Andrew, please let me know if that's the case, which would be awesome as well. And it looks like that's what's happening. So we're having a community space, debut community space for ThursdAI community. It's 1,600 members strong. It's insane. Now most of these members, mind you, came there to hear about LK99 updates. So they will likely not be very enthusiastic about some AI updates, but some will. Hey, the first and the biggest probably ThursdAI space about LK99 was kind of the reason why that community existed in the first place. I remember because we talked about LK99 on here, if you guys remember, for those of you who are like long-time listeners, and that blew up like crazy, and so that's the reason why the community exists. Right. So that's, I think, the logistics out of the way. Some more updates before we actually start the show, and before like Nistan. Oh, Wolfram, yeah, what's up, man? I'm gonna add you to the stage.
Hey,
Hey, great seeing you
basically
for the
we.
first time. That's great. So, folks, we just had Wolfram join us on the actual live thing. Wolfram, I will ask you to, I think, mute. Oh, you're good. You're good. You can stay muted on X Space and come to us live here. And I think that folks will be able to hear you through my mic over here as well. And then maybe we can add Yam. Let's add Yam. All right. I think this is dope. Like like we can see each other. I think this feels a little bit better than Twitter Spaces. It feels like we're upgraded as well.
Definitely.
Folks who are on Twitter Spaces, if you prefer just listening to us, that's fine. But this time, for the first time, I think you can see ThursdAI, and we have a new guest here, Dex. Dex, say hello to the folks. They can see you.
What's up, y'all?
Yeah.
Good to be here.
And Dex, hopefully you all can hear Dex as well. Yam, I want to say hi to you as well. What's up, Yam? Good, we're doing great, man. Super quick question for you. Do you want to join us on the live stream? I'll send you a DM super quick. And then yeah, we're stepping up a notch, folks. ThursdAI is stepping into 2025 soon, and it's going to be a whole ass production. And we're streaming on, believe it or not, YouTube and LinkedIn this time. LinkedIn as well. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna send you a DM on X, so you just join that, and then hopefully you have your mic. Where was that sound from? Hopefully, okay. And community space, community members. No, I think that we're getting some questions. So while Yam is getting set up and Ethan is getting set up, folks, again, a welcome and a reminder. You guys are all on ThursdAI. ThursdAI is your weekly high signal, I want to say highest signal AI news. I'm Alex Volkov, and the AI evangelist here at Weights and Biases. We are at the Weights and Biases new podcast studio. I will not be able to show you too much because I cannot move my Mac here, but we're in fact here. It was set up just briefly. Dex is actually right in front of me, which is new and exciting. We're having Wolfram all the way from Germany. What's up, Wolfram?
Yeah.
Yeah, joining us live, and then hopefully Nistan and Jan will also join us as well. I sent them links, and then we're going to do a live X space, but also a live video, YouTube, and also on X, and even LinkedIn this time. And we're going to talk about a bunch of things that are happening in the world of AI. This week was relatively quiet from a certain perspective. At least from the AI perspective, it was relatively quiet. Other perspectives, we will not touch. I promise. This is not, this is not the space for that. We're going to be very, how should I say, avoidant of specific topics because we're here to talk about AI. And finally, I will say one thing about that whole thing. Finally, we can focus on AI. Finally, the algorithm and everything can be back and talking about AI only. And yeah, that's what I'm super excited about. So. The live camera feed. Yeah, I know, man. I know. This is this was too much for me to handle altogether because that's only from my phone, and that took like too much. So I will try this when I'm at home, but this is like a new studio and like too much for me to handle. But you're welcome to join that link that I sent you, and then join us on the on this feed on YouTube as well. Yes. Alrighty. So I think that I'm getting folks that saying sound check is good, video is solid. All right, folks. I think we're starting. Let's go.
Oh, we don't hear it here on the video. stream.
Check. Welcome everyone to ThursdAI. Today is November 7th. Let's go. Today is November 7th. This is ThursdAI. My name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with weights and biases, which is also the place from which the show is coming to you today. The show is coming to you from all over the place, right? We have Germany online, we have Toronto, we have Israel, we have Florida, we have, I don't know where else we have folks from. I think I covered most of it. But also, the Weights and Biases office, I'm in here. I'm actually occupying Lucas Bewild, the CEO's actual official office. So he may step in here randomly and expect in around 20 minutes, expect to have a meeting in here. So we will politely ask him hey Lucas, we're sorry, we took over your office. So hopefully that's gonna be fine. Lucas, by the way, for those folks who don't know, Lucas also has a podcast. It's an accent podcast called Gradient Descent. So Weights and Biases is one of the rare companies that has 2 podcasts. But this one is not the Gradient Descent one. This one is ThursdAI, coming to you live from sunny California this time. Meanwhile, Denver has a bunch of snow, so I'm very happy that I'm here right now, but I have to go back tomorrow. And we have a bunch of friends here on stage. Let me introduce a few of them. Let's start with the Twitter Space friends. Yam Peleg, welcome Yam. Feel free to introduce yourself. Peleg, feel free to unmute and introduce yourself if you're, or we can skip you and go forward. No worries. Okay, let's move on. Wolfram Raven Wolf, feel free to introduce yourself,
Hi.
man.
Well, I'm from Germany, as you told, so a backwater country in the AI world, unfortunately. XAI came out and it was not available in your region as well. That was a bit of a pity. I've been known for my Reddit posts where I did in-depth evaluations of models a while ago, and now I'm spending more time on X, I must say. So the community is great here, and I'm happy to be a part of this as well.
Incredible. I'm very happy to have you as well. I very appreciate your participation in the ThursdAI community and as a co-host, man. Welcome. Nistan, you're up, man. You're on the video. And yeah, feel free to unmute here and stay muted on the X space. Welcome, Nistan. Where are you joining us from? Maybe do a brief re-intro to who you are.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
by the way.
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Volume's good. Yeah, I'm Nistan Tahirai. I work on a mobile operating system and device here in Toronto, Canada, and I'm at home as usual in the battle station. Yeah, I have been because you kind of need it. Otherwise, you'll make a lot of mistakes. But yeah,
that's true. Alrighty, and I think that we are getting another host. LDJ is going to join us soon, and I think that Yam as well. But also we have a new friend of mine, Dex here. Dex, feel free to, let me unmute you super quick so you can say, you muted yourself, so you need to mute over here.
I think so,
yeah.
Are we gonna get an EQ?
We are, yeah.
Okay. What's up, y'all? I'm Dex.
Mute. Okay, we are getting. Yes. Sorry, because we're coming through mine. My bad.
New studio problems.
Yeah, you're all good. Yeah.
What's up, y'all? I'm Dex. I'm a founder at Human Layer. We build an API and SDK that lets AI agents talk to humans. Super stoked to be here.
Awesome. Welcome, Dex. Thanks for joining us. Dex joined the hackathon over this weekend, which we did the AI Thinkers, and that was dope. And I would love to do a little recap of how the hackathon went as well. Given that this is a fairly slow news week, we have a bunch of news to cover of the stuff that we did, which was always awesome and fun. And we're waiting for Yam. Yam, feel free to tell us when you're ready to go, and join us on the video stage as well. LDJ, you want to join with video? What's your status here?
Yeah, so I was just going to join with my my little profile picture here. That's what I usually join with, if that's fun.
I see. Yeah, that's fine.
I can hear him on the app, but not here.
Yeah. Okay. LDJ, you're all good. Feel free to
Maybe now you can hear me on the StreamYard.
Yeah, everybody should be able to hear you on the StreamYard.
Okay, so I should keep myself muted on the actual space and then keep myself unmuted here, right?
Yes, space is muted for all of us who are joining the stream yet. All right, folks. It looks like it's working kind of slowly. It's working. Few folks are joining us. Yam is the last one that we're gonna join. That we're gonna wait for, and then we're just gonna go and go and have fun. Right. So I think that the agenda for today. Let's run through the agenda for today. There's some stuff that that we wanted to cover. Not a huge amount of stuff, but let me run through the stuff that we have, and then we're gonna dive in. So I can also just show this to you guys. I think that'd be cool. What do you guys think? I think that'd be cool. Should I just show this? Share screen? Yeah, why not? Why not? Why in fact not? And then, ooh, a nice little mirror for you guys. All right, hopefully my thing is seen. And then, all right, so we're gonna start with a little TRDL as we always do. So for folks who are listening, I'm going to run through the regular sections of our show, which is open source LLMs. We have not one, but we're gonna talk about the kind of the week of small open source LMs. Small LM2 was released by Hugging Face. Is a new, and they call it best open 1 billion parameter language model, and it looks pretty dope on the metrics. So we're going to chat about the small LM1. Also, I believe NVIDIA Respawn as well. I don't have it in my notes, but we're going to go and find this out as well. I think that, let me, small, yeah. These are the ones that I wanted to talk about. So Meta released mobile LLM with 125 million parameters, 350 million parameters, 600, and 1B. So those are like tiny ones that run on your device, probably super fast as well. And Hugging Face with the small LM series of models, 135 million. That's million with an M. That's not billion. We're used to talk about billions of parameters. 135 million. That's I don't know, your MacBook M1 can probably churn out, Nistan can probably calculate how many tokens super quick. That's going to go super fast. And AMD also released a Olmo 1 billion parameter. And Olmo, we know about Olmo. All right, another thing for open source LLMs, we should talk about Tencent's, I'm going to butcher this, Tencent's Hunyuan, something like this, large, which is a whopping 389 billion. So, do you guys see the difference, the scale, the massive scale difference here? We're talking about 125 million parameters to 389 billion parameters, MOE with 52 billion parameters active. It's a huge language model with 256 context window, 256,000 tokens in the context window. It comparable to Llama 71, Llama 70B 3.1, and very closely comparable also to 405 billion parameter model for Llama. It's Tencent's open source and largest transformer-based MOE so far. So that's very, very impressive. If you guys remember, Llama 405B is a dense model. This is an MOE. And I think that's pretty much it. Open source wasn't like popping this week too much, but then we're gonna go into big companies LLMs, and there has been some announcements. I think the biggest, it's not necessarily an AI announcement, but like we talk about everything, right? We talk about a bunch of stuff. So OpenAI buys and opens chat.com. And chat.com is now redirects to chatgpt.com. They bought it from Dharmesh. It's very interesting. There's a whole theory about like how much this actually costs. I think it's around $15 million. We're gonna chat about this as well. And I put this here. I put this. OpenAI drops 01 full, and we're gonna wait for this and hit the breaking news button. Also, so 01 full. Right now, if you guys remember, we have 01 mini, 01 preview on the platforms. And we know that 01 full exists. We know this because, well, Sam told us at Dev Day. And also because last week, well, we're going to cover this when we get there. XAI has now released their API. We talked about this last week. But now they offer $25 a month for free in Grok API credits till the end of the year. So you can play with it. And there's a whole thing to talk about Peter levels and the number of clicks it gets to get the API key. And I'm salty, folks. So you want to stay here for this. I'm salty about this thing. Also, Anthropic releases Haiku 3.5. I think probably this should be like the biggest kind of news up here. This is super dope. if I'm able to like wrangle with my notes thingy. Okay, Haiku 3.5 is super cool. The price there is very interesting. So we're gonna chat about the pricing structure of this thing, and I'm getting pings that I'm missing ThursdAI, so we're gonna chat about ThursdAI as well, whatever that is. Yam and Nisten, I would love to hear from you guys about Etched. Etched is a company that announced Sonu, the first transformer ASIC. And for folks who have no idea what I just said, ASIC is a custom-based hardware device that spits out the transformers, well, etched into the device itself, to the chip, onto the chip, and then they are talking about 500,000 tokens per second output from this LLM. 500,000 tokens per second. It's insane, insane. GPUs do 100, 200. The top ones do 2,000. The LPUs and the NPUs and whatever Cerebrus has and whatever. This is 500,000. So we're gonna chat about what does an ASIC mean in the transformers world. A small thing about perplexity being valued at 9 billion parameters. And Meta and Scale AI have announced Defense Llama. In this week's Buzz, a reminder, this week's Buzz is a category where I chat about everything related to weights and biases, about the stuff that we have, the courses that we have, the product announcement that we have. So we're going to do a recap of the hackathon that we had here with the AI Tinkerers this last weekend. It was dope. Dex, was it dope?
Oh, it was super dope.
Awesome. Dex was here, and a bunch of other folks joined us as well. I really enjoyed and had a lot of fun. Chef made an appearance that we built for the hackathon previously, and Chef was here roasting Lucas, the CEO of Weights and Biases, got roasted, and that was kind of fun.
Got pretty spicy there.
Yeah, Chef is foul mouthed as well, and he uses Gemini, and you don't even have to jailbreak Gemini for that spiciness, so that's pretty cool. So Chef is actually here somewhere in the bag, taking a break. But yeah, hackathon was super dope. We're gonna chat about maybe some projects. The second AI hardware device puppet that I have is Fester for the Halloween toy. I think I have a problem. I think I need to go see a person about the AI hardware devices. Fester, the Halloween toy, finally had its debut. If you guys remember last week, I jumped on the. Oh, I should probably stop sharing the screen. I jumped on the Twitter space and the YouTube, and the reason for this was because I was wearing a costume, and I wanted to show you Fester. He was right here with me. After that, Fester actually went and saw kitties and actually did what he was supposed to do, identify costumes. And I really want to chat with you about this. I think I have some videos to show now that the format is multimodal. I can show some pictures. The folks on Twitter Space, I have a link for you as well. I have like a full write-up of how to actually do this. If you want to build, let's say, Santa, whatever for you, I'll send you to the write-up as well. And I definitely want to chat about this. And let me go back to my thingy super quick. Share. All right, you guys should see my notes, and oh yeah, and I want to invite those of you who are coming out to NeurIPS. NeurIPS is coming up very soon, in a month, and we're going to have a party at the NeurIPS. It's in Vancouver, Canada, and we have a party there at WNB. I will have another thing to announce with Weights and Biases soon, but not yet. In voice and audio, we have a tiny thing called Fish Agent. It's super cool. It's a continuation of Quen 2.5 3B, the trained on 200 billion audio and text tokens, and it's an end-to-end speech-to-speech model, which is kind of like an Omni from OpenAI. I unfortunately haven't been able to run the demo, but I trust VB from Hugging Face when he says that it's super cool, so it's super cool. We're gonna mention this and maybe even try it out on Space because we may have time today. AI Art and Diffusion. Flux just killed with this ridiculous thing. So Flux 1.1 Pro is now HD. It outputs 4x the resolution that it previously did, and the images of this is just absolutely stunning. They are absolutely stunning. So Flux is absolutely killing the game. Recently, they have been overshadowed a little bit by Red Panda, just a tiny bit, not a much. Flux Pro is still the absolute king of AI art and diffusion right now, and the new 4x resolution is just absolutely mind-blowing. So we're definitely going to chat about this. Maybe we have some folks in the audience. I see it's a free with us. Maybe we'll join who are more of experts in that field. I think that's most of what we have to chat about for this week. Let's see if I missed a few things, folks. I know definitely I got pings about a few things that we've missed. Folks on stage, let's start with folks here on StreamYard. Anything that I missed big? Wolfram,
Yeah.
anything huge that you see?
I sent you a few. The Mochi, whatever it's called, the Mochi model. It was 2 weeks ago when it needed 4 H100 graphic cards,
Right.
and now it already works on just the 3090. So we are down to the most recent news was 12 gigabyte VRAM is all you need to run this state-of-the-art model. So it's no Zora local yet, but it is a big step ahead, I think. So I tried it, and it's a great model. You can get it with the one click with Pinocchio, so you can play with it on your own system if you have enough VRAM.
That's
And
the
Ollama
video
added,
one, right?
yeah, that is the video model.
Yeah.
And Ollama added vision support, better vision support for the Llama 3.2 models that are fully supported now. So you can run the 11B and the 90B with that as well.
Awesome. All right. Niston, anything big I missed? LDJ?
There was that Hertz dev thing that you mentioned earlier.
Thinking about the Hertz dev. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically like another Mochi, but it's newer and it seems like it might be better. Unfortunately, I haven't seen many people attempt to test it yet, so I don't exactly have much info on exactly like benchmarks or anything like that. But
all right,
yeah, I think it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, we can just pull it up. All right, folks. I think it's time for open source AI. Let's get it started.
Niston, you're usually the small LM guy. If you want to start off.
Wait, we have a music transition.
Oh.
We should have I should have a video transition as well. I don't. Let's get it started. All right. Yeah, Niston, small LMs. I'm gonna turn off my sharing here. There's a few of them. I would love to hear from you if anything of them at all are exciting for you as well. There's ones from, let's see, we have Meta releasing mobile LLM and very tiny 125 million parameter. Is there anything to do with this, Nissan? Like, are they really useful? Is that like an autocorrect level that you can just like autocorrect stuff? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, just quick assessment. Just use Quencoder 1.5b. Nothing comes close out of all of these. So I tried the AMD Olmo. Yeah, it just wasn't good. I tried the 1.2b small LM. Was a bit better and conversational, but it also seemed very trained, where it was very sensitive to any form of quantization. The only useful thing is the one from Gina, which is a 0.5b that auto corrects, for what you asked, I think website data into XML, and it actually does it way better than GPT-4, like much more accurately, and it's just been trained to grab website sources, dumps, and turn them into XML formatted, and it is very, very good at that job. And I think that's like the only one at sub 1B that actually has a practical use, which you could use today, like for your business or for customers. Anything else does not come close. Yeah, the small LM 1.2B was pretty good. Again, if people don't know, my most popular model was Biggie's small LM, like 1.54B, and that was based on the small LM version 130M, which I showed to be like the fastest small tiny one that you can run at 200 tokens per second on one CPU core.
Fine tune of small LM of Hugging Face?
No, that was an evolutionary merge.
Evolutionary.
And it was trained on a whole new optimizer. So it was trained on the Grok optimizer. That was a lot there that went on into just getting that thing to talk. But yeah, the new ones are better. However, the only thing at this range, like 1.5B and under, that actually has very good practical use is Gina's model, the 0.5B that does the formatting. And a lot of coding assistants or online coding assistants use the Qwen 1.5B coder. That actually has very good inline use. And I tested it on a 4-year-old phone, and it pulls in over 10 tokens per second. So it's very practical to use. And AMD's pretty not a useful model. I mean, yeah, it worked, but at this point, yeah, sorry, I get kind of impatient with these reviews. It's like, is this of any use right now? And yeah. Now, the thing about small LM is that you have access to all the data, so you can match the distribution of the pre-training data with whatever else you're trying to do, and you can do continued pre-training. So if you're studying this stuff, or if you're working on a model, that is a big deal, because if you want to compare as to how you continue pre-training, now that you have your right data distribution, you can try and fit in your new data to the past one and get like a much better continued pre-training. So it does have very, very useful uses in research, and maybe some company fine-tuning things. So it is worth spending resources on the small LM one. Yeah, so that's my, I think I give a pretty thorough assessment of the whole thing so far. Yeah.
So just on metrics, on a few of the metrics that we saw from small LM, MMLU gets 42% versus Llama 3.2 1 billion parameter at 36%, and this is a slightly bigger model, so that kind of makes sense as well. TriviaK at 36%. They trained it on 11 trillion tokens of curated data sets. So this is like a very tiny model trained for a lot of data. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Any other comments for folks here, super quick? Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
I quickly want to say that the big accomplishment here is the data set. Like, that is a massive contribution. It's not the model itself. I hardly think there's going to be like over 1,000 times more resources, or like maybe more, maybe 10,000 times more resources and time and compute spent doing stuff with the data set release than with the model. The model is just a proof of concept. The data set, that's just like they delivered a mountain. So that's an insane contribution on their part. Like, if this was just a data set release, it would have been pretty good. The model, sorry, honestly, is just not that good. It repeats itself, needs a lot of work. Shows some interesting things where it's very sensitive even to 8-bit quantization, so just leave that in F16. Whereas other ones you could quantize it more. So yeah, but that's a massive contribution in how much data they shipped.
Awesome. All right. Moving on from very tiny models to very big ones, we're getting a new huge model from Tencent, which is called Hunyuan Large with 389 billion parameters. It's an active ME. I'm actually going to present, and we're going to go and take a look at this together. What do you guys think? Because let's go take a look at this together. I think should I pop a new window for this? I think that's gonna be a good idea. And I will present. Meanwhile, anybody already had a chance to play with Hunyuan Large, folks?
Well, I would like to,
yeah.
but it's not available in Europe again.
Oh, really?
I have to remove it from the map here. Yeah, their license is worldwide, just not in the whole of Europe. So that's pretty concerning, actually.
Go ahead.
I did check it out, and it's really interesting. There's a lot of kind of architectural tweaks and changes that they made that it kind of gives me similar vibes to DeepSeek. It makes me think maybe they put some DeepSeek people or something. But they did some things like cross-layer attention. They had some like custom learning rates stuff that were like expert-specific learning rates for training. Like, these are all kind of like new things that aren't really standard in training processes. And overall, it seems I remember you were talking about the comparisons to 70B, but this actually seems something more like, I would say, a 405B competitor.
Mhm.
And even in a lot of areas, especially like math, it does better than 405B. And a big thing here too is the training tokens is only about 8.5 trillion tokens, and 1.5 trillion of those are synthetic data. And if you do the math overall in terms of the active parameters as well as the total tokens it was trained for, we're talking about something that was, if I remember my math right, it's something like more than 8 times less training compute than Llama 405B.
Wow.
So this is pretty good in terms of just training and inference efficiency perspective, getting pretty close to those results or even better than 405B while using way less training compute and much faster to inference as well, since it's only 50 billion active parameters.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm
No
running
problem.
through the technical report super quick, and it looks like you've covered most of the interesting things here.
I
But
used
feel
it.
free to chime in, 'cause, yeah.
Uh,
Listen, feelings about it? Wait, yeah, feelings, and I want to hear from Wolfram. Wasn't it dropped in open source? Can't you just download?
No, yeah, you could have, of course you could,
Oh,
but
but it's
it's
huge.
not licensed. So
It's
for
tiny.
company use, it's a no-go. Just like Meta did not release vision models in Europe, the Llama 3.2 versions. Those were not licensed here as well. So that seems to be a new trend, probably putting pressure on the EU. So hopefully they will reconsider their AI regulation.
I hear you. Nissan, go ahead.
I used it for coding, and it just wasn't that good. I just stick with DeepSeek or Qwen. So I thought at the end of the day, it ends up being about 50 billion active parameters, but you still need over like 380 something gigs of RAM. So even if you have NVIDIA 48 gig cards, 80 of them might not be enough to actually run it. So it's not very practical to run. And even if you're going to run a CPU inference, you still have 50 billion active parameters to deal with. So it's going to be slow. So there's that. And on top of that, it just wasn't responding that great. Like half the time, I would ask it to like respond in a certain language and stuff, and it would output everything in Chinese. And like the other models, like DeepSeek and you ask them to do stuff in English, and they do as they're told, like they do the job. And I don't know. I haven't tested it that thoroughly, but to me, this is I'm not gonna really bother much. There's DeepSeek, there's Qwen. If you need to run stuff in open source, I would use it for benchmarking or generating some like entropy data with like different distribution data if you need like math or other stuff. So it still has uses for data generation, but for day to day, I didn't really like it myself.
Didn't change the landscape too much. Folks, hopefully folks can hear me well. Folks are saying that audio could be a bit louder, so I can project, but also I added some loudness to the audio. All right. I think that's mostly it on the open source. Some folks said Hertz something, and then I think that's mostly it. LJ, do you remember the last thing that I can go and look up and we can take a look together?
Yeah, if you just look up HertzDev, if that's what you're thinking of.
HertzDev, yeah, HertzDev.
Yeah.
Hertz.dev?
I think like Hertz-dev, I think.
Oh, HertzDev. Okay, let's do HertzDev. Let's look at X together. That's dope. HertzDev. This one.
Oh yeah, that one's probably good.
Yeah, open source, first of its kind base models for full duplex conversational audio. Oh, that's dope. Oh my god. Can you guys hear this, by the way?
I cannot.
You cannot?
I cannot.
Oh,
I can't
right.
either.
So
No,
Oh, okay.
me neither.
So that was on purpose, because that you guys then will hear yourself, and it's gonna be a whole loop. So it's just me and Dex. But you guys are hearing, like, at least seeing what I'm going through. So let's go to the blog. So it is a full duplex conversational audio, and what we've heard, by the way, is like two conversations, kind of like going from one left and right channels. First, open source based model for conversational audio generation. Oh, looks super cool. Checkpoints and yeah, you guys are gonna see a little bit behind of how I view things. When I need to prepare for ThursdAI, the first thing I do, I go into this like longest blog, and I was like, no, I don't want to read all this. So I use Arc, and I say summarize in 10 bullet points. This is the first thing I do, and this is a beautiful thing that now I have a open source audio base model with 8.5 billion parameters. It is codec, LM, and Hertz voice activated.
VAE is a variational autoencoder.
Variational autoencoder, thank you. And let's see what's super interesting there. We're reading this as we go along, folks. So unfortunately, this isn't as polished as like prepared news, but somebody just threw it in the comments, and hopefully, unless some of the hosts here already have some way of anything you want to say about this, feel free to jump in. But
Well, it's a base model, so it's not specifically fine-tuned or something.
yeah,
I see Apache 2.0 license on Hugging Face. So
no, right.
there's okay. So now that puts it on a whole different story. I don't know. 8.5b. Does this mean is this based on Llama or Quen? It's probably based on Quen then.
I think it's neither. I think they trained it. They mentioned 2 trillion training tokens, and I think something like 6 million or something on the order of some millions of hours of audio that they trained it on as well. So yeah, and they also actually released a version with just trained on millions of hours of audio and not trained on any text at all.
Interesting.
I would like to ask one of our co-hosts to play the audio, because I think if you guys share, there will not be an issue, and you can actually play it. Anybody who wants to take this mantle and like play us a sample super quick with 1 and 2 channels? Listen, you want to take you want to try one?
I have the entire OS sandboxed, so
Oh yeah, okay.
Don't make me troubleshoot that right now, please.
Anybody with like a very easy setup, they just like can click and play.
So you mean just go to the website and then
Yeah, just like
share
your like window when this website is on, and then just hit play, and then it will come through to the folks. Wolfram, you wanna try?
I can try if I I have so many windows. Wait a second.
Yeah.
I need a new window for that.
All right, folks.
If somebody is
just
faster.
a second. We're trying new things. We're trying. I can do an audio pause. No, I'm just kidding. But basically, because the show is now multimodal, as everything else. This is a new voice kind of thing, end-to-end voice thing, and I kind of played one sample, but you guys couldn't hear this, and that was kind of on purpose, because I also bring you. Never mind.
So I'm on the page now.
Yes,
but I have no idea how to share it with this.
Yeah, no worries. I'll walk you through it. On StreamYard, hit present on the bottom right, where there's like settings and whatever. There's present.
Ah, I see it. Okay.
Here, share screen. And hopefully share screen will also
Yeah.
work with-
Okay.
Yeah, you can choose the tab specifically if you want, and then
Yeah, I
also share
see
tab
it
audio.
now. So that should be this. Audio is on. So you should see it any moment now.
Yeah, I think we see it. Hit play.
Okay, so I will hit play.
About this stuff every time in so many different terms. And if you're new on the podcast, why not take a look at some of the different ones? But with all of that said, this is another new episode of Fall.
So what you heard, folks, is generated audio from Hertz thing. Wolfram, do you mind hitting the 2-channel one?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
That sounds
2,
dope.
1.
I like it.
Nice stereo.
Yeah, nice stereo a little bit. What's the interactive one?
Probably people talking. Let's see.
Welcome to the Standard Intelligence Podcast. We have a very, very special guest with us today. His name is Bob. How's it going, Bob?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm very excited to be with you all on this nerdy podcast.
I mean, we'll talk about a lot of stuff like AI, What are your thoughts on AI?
Wait, folks, pause this for a second.
That's
Wolfram,
really
freaking me
good.
out. That's.
Yeah.
I don't know if folks who are listening just on the Twitter space can tell the difference when we stop talking and that starts, folks. I don't know. Maybe leave us comments and tell us, but that sounded dope as hell.
I wonder if that was a person talking to the AI or two AIs talking like in a podcast. I can't tell. It's so good.
Wow,
That was good. That was really good.
really good. That was really
And
good.
it's Apache licensed. Okay.
Fuck. We're
And
done.
it's
I wasn't
only-
gonna.
All right. Okay. We have to move to video next. We cannot stay only in audio
Sure,
land.
yeah.
Audio land is screwed.
Well,
Folks,
let's
it's
cover
cooked.
let's cover the fish one too. Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So this was this, and then what else is on this page? Super quick, so that folks. What else is very interesting here? So during live inference, model needs to run 8-4 passes. Blah blah blah. It's super boring. Latency. Oh, latency super cool. Latency is 62 milliseconds. Average time between a given utterance and the end of one token. That's incredible. Running our servers close to the end user, we have achieved the real-world average latency 120 milliseconds. Jesus. So, folks, I always say this, but I'll repeat this all the time. 120 milliseconds is instantaneous. Everything below 200 milliseconds feels instantaneous to humans, because this is how, this is the research Google did once. When you click on the button and it's less than 200 millisecond latency to reaction, you feel that it happened instantly. 120 milliseconds for a audio to get back to you it's what happens when you see a human, it reacts. It's ridiculous. And it sounds super dope. So I'm very, very excited to be able to play with this. Apache 2 license. How big is the model? Can we download this? And
It's less than 10 billion parameters. It's I think they said about
It's
8.5 billion.
8.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would wait until someone converts it to safe tensors, just because I'm paranoid about running direct PT files. But it's all in there.
Yeah. The download checkpoints link on their website leads you to another link. Oh,
no, it's on
it leads
Hugging
you to a TXT file on their server, index.txt, that lists out 5 links to PT files. What the hell? Is this some kind of nerdy?
It's on Hugging Face.
Bro, who's
it's okay. That's good.
Up?
That's good. That's a good thing, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of into this. But who's the guy in charge? With hey, dude, let's put up a downloadable TXT file outlining 6 PT links in the TXT file. That's a very convoluted way to download this. All right, folks. So Hertz-Dev is a end-to-end audio full duplex model that's less than 10 billion parameters, that's able to generate incredible podcast sounding audio with multiple channels. And thanks to Wolfram, we were able to actually hear this, and it sounded dope. It sounds kind of like Notebook LM to an extent, like an open source Notebook LM. Shit. All right. LDJ, you want to cover the other one that we had also? Because fish.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not
you
familiar
said
with
fish as well, right?
Fish?
Yeah, I wanted.
Or...
Oh yeah, listen. You
no, fish speech. So
fish speech, yeah.
they trained one using. Sorry.
Yeah. So fish is kind of also a similar thing. I didn't hear fish though. I didn't hear samples of fish, but also an end-to-end speech-to-speech model. Looks like we got 2. So
it's a lot.
Yeah, but I haven't heard it at all being at all good.
It's okay, but there's a reason I'm a great fan of it.
Yeah,
is because you can actually swap out the 3D model that's inside it with your own fine tune, and that makes it a lot more utilitarian for whatever you're doing, because you could just have your model trained for whatever you can even swap out like the speech part, and that's also that's CC by NC, so it's actually not a use, but they used Quen 3B, and the 3B Quen has one of the highest GPQA diamond scores of any model under 8B. So it even matches the new Mistral 8B, which is really good. The 3B Quen, the only one of the small ones that they did an Apache license, there's a reason why. It's really good. So this one uses that specific model, and it makes it very practical for on-device use because that model runs great on device. And in my own setup, just using Whisper with which you can get Whisper with a little bit of training and some engineering, you can get Whisper to 200 ms total latency, and then you have the latency of the LLM, and you end up with like 300 something. So you can do that with just engineering and not using an end-to-end trained model. But in this case, they paired it together for you. So it's, yeah, in some ways, this is better. I just wish it, the license just makes it hard to use, because I would bet you like anything like 9 times out of 10, the 3B coin model is going to be a lot better than whatever any other organization trained at 7 or 8B. So being able to have that in there and being able to fine tune that is a lot more useful to me. But there's no license, so that makes it not useful. Anyway, yeah, the speech is not that great, but I would still rather
use. Just heard from Hertz. What do you think? Because I wasn't able.
Oh no, not even close.
Not even close.
No. It's
and Hertz is.
I mean, it's not bad. Yeah, Hertz is Apache too. It's not. Fish is not bad. It's actually not bad at all. I would much rather use the Fish model, because as a 3B assistant that's like very good, has insanely high scores, it would be a much better RAG agent to as a chatbot that you would use like during work, like tell me, oh, how do I do a singleton in like Elixir or something. If you have random questions like that, you want a smart model to begin with, but you also want it to be really fast, and that's what I would use. Like I would trust the Quen models to do that job, but it's not licensed for like actually making a product for it. So that sucks. Anyway, yeah, do use. I'm a fan of what they've set up with Fish Speech, because I was kind of ready to just rig that on my own, and I'm just glad someone else did it. So.
Oh, that's dope. So I think, folks, we've covered like 2 segments in one. We've covered open source AI, LLMs, and audio models. ThursdAI. Thanks for the folks who suggested to cover ThursdAI. I haven't saw it yesterday, and some folks. As always, folks, the community is incredible. Not only to mention that we have folks on stage here who joined from the community now co-hosting this, but also the fact that like we have a bunch of folks. I see. Maybe I'll shout out. Yeah, I should definitely shout out folks incredible folks in the community that are always supporting. I see Lincoln is incredible and always like brings me the links that and covers. You definitely should give him a follow. He's in the community, probably going to be a moderator in the community. I see Bartowski dropping some conversations. Nicole, Roman, I see Thomas is joining us as well. A bunch of folks. Hertzfeld Labs, Unity Eagle, Junaid is here. A bunch of folks. Ray, Fernando in the chats. I really Lashawn in Twitter Spaces, Dazzling, Tony, Ryan. It's incredible to see the community kind of like across all of them. I would love to hear from you guys. What format do you prefer? Because the audio format we just saw, we're basically cooked. Like the AI can take over that. So the smiles that we're having, I don't think AI is quite there yet. We're gonna talk about the video model, but it feels like we need to upgrade. At least to me, it feels like we need to upgrade. Right. So I think we're moving. Yam, I saw you struggling to join us for multiple things. You wanna try to unmute here and tell us what you think about the audio model, or any comments that you had throughout the stuff that we talked about, maybe the transformer stuff? You have too many CUDA kernels running at the same time. Oh, really? Interesting, folks. Yeah. Looks like at least the folks that are.
I can hear him. I can hear him on the phone.
Yeah, looks like we're good. Or at least some of us are good. Some of us, some of the time, not all of us, all of the time. Right, folks, I think it's time to move on to big companies and and the discussion around their stuff. I think it's 9:22. I think that we're actually going to move there in around an hour. I will also say that as we have a bunch of folks, geez, it looks like we had 800 views on the live YouTube stuff. Oh, sorry, on the live X stuff. I don't know how many folks are watching on YouTube. Some of them maybe prefer on YouTube. We also have like a bunch of folks in the Twitter space as well. Maybe it's time to do like a little bit of a reset. Hey, folks, you are on ThursdAI for the second time. But for the first time coming to you with multiple folks as well on coming to you in video and audio thing. We're still struggling through some technical things, as we'll always like. Hopefully, at some point this will be this clean. But hey, it works at least some of the time. Yeah, okay, the reset. You guys on ThursdAI, my name is Alex Volkov, an AI evangelist with Weights and Biases. For those of you who are seeing this, you can see the title like right here. This is super cool. For those of you who are hearing this on the Twitter space, this is the debut of our community Twitter space, which is awesome. We have now a community on X with like 1,600 strong, which you can post links over there. If you don't want to like spam your main and you want to just like go deep into a subject, the community is a great place for that. Feel free to do so. If you want to moderate that community, definitely reach out to me and I will consider it. If you're a great member of ThursdAI and you haven't been on the spaces and you're not like super public, you know, don't want to talk, but you want to help, I would love help in moderation of the community. If you want to produce, just send content there. You can cross post to your main and to the community. By the way, that's a new feature. Would appreciate that, and you'll get some exposure as well. We have been talking about open source AI for the past 45-ish minutes. The rest of the conversation is going to be about some other stuff. We're waiting for OpenAI to drop some news. They're usually doing this at around 9:30-ish. I think that is the usual thing. They may or may not drop some O1 stuff. We're going to cover this in a second. And I definitely want to cover some weights and biases stuff in the next segment. And also remind that I have a guest here, Dexter Horthy, and we're going to chat about how agents interact with humans.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? Super stoked to be here.
Yeah. Right. So what should we do next? I think that we'll do a little break for the weights and biases stuff. And I think, yeah, let's do the weights and biases stuff super quick, and then I'll show some examples live on the YouTube stuff. So if you're listening on X and you want to jump onto the video stuff and want to actually see what's going on, this would probably be the right time for that. Yeah? All right, cool. I'm getting the stupid thumbs up. Right. Should I have a transition for this? Let me see if I can have a transition for this. This week's bugs from ThursdAI. No, this sucked. I'll prepare for this later. This was really bad, really bad. Right, folks. So this week's bugs is a category where I talk about everything that happened in in weights and biases this week that was interesting to me. And the main thing that we had this week was obviously the hackathon, together with AI Tinkerers. The hackathon with AI Tinkerers that we hosted this weekend. The hackathon was called the Human in the Loop Hackathon, and shout out to Joe from AI Tinkerers who kind of we collaborated with. Google Cloud was here, brought just a shit ton of swag, just a ridiculous amount of swag. We got outswagged in our own office, folks. Just like I don't know if this happens ever to anybody else. We got outswagged in our own office, which led to some conversations with some folks. We will not be outswagged again, I will tell you that. And it was dope. We had more than 100, I think around 120 people came in to hack, and we had a great, like, super energetic weekend. If you followed some of my stuff, we definitely had like folks building incredible things. All the meeting rooms were full. People gave a bunch of comments. Folks were building around the topic of human in the loop, which is also the topic of conversation that me and Dex will have. So Dex, I'm gonna add you to the stage somehow. I'll find a way to add only you. Let's see how we'll do this. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna remove the other folks. And all right, folks. So maybe do a little introduction, and then we're gonna just move from there.
Yeah, no. So I think the hackathon is great. I love Joe. He put it in a way that I probably have been saying for a while, but not quite as eloquently, which is this idea that, you know, AI agents are this new concept and people are trying to figure out what are they and what do they look like, and everyone's got their own definition. And I think the most important thing that Joe honed in on and why the theme of the hackathon was, you know, humans in the loop, is this idea of AI agents are almost good enough. They're almost good enough to do really, really impressive things and go beyond just text to text or human sitting in a chat interface. They're almost ready to be unhooked and sent off into the world to just be in the background, building, doing things, taking care of business. And by finding innovative ways to bring humans into the loop, we are able to kind of shortcut that waiting for the next big model, waiting for the next big thing, and get real results and build agents that actually do things in the world, do things that are maybe even kind of scary, like update production databases or, you know, send emails on my behalf. So it was really cool. I love the community. I think in building Human Layer, the people that I identify with the most are those people who are in the trenches, just kind of building stuff that they want for themselves, whether it's assistants that work over email, whether it's I don't know, there were so many cool projects. What was your favorite project this week?
So I was a judge as well, and the coolest, one of the coolest things, I think it was second place. I was partial to hardware stuff. Somebody built it was pre-built a little bit, a kind of a hardware toy that looks like a little cactus that moves, and it was for kids to talk to, and it talks back, and I think it was called Toy Story 6. And it basically is for clinicians to try and kind of have kids talk about what they went through, identifies them, and talks back to them. I thought it was super cool. Just basically the voice-based conversations were super cool. I love the idea of being able to like pause agents and kind of go and for additional conversation. Folks getting like telling me that your audio is a little quiet. Let me boost you up a little bit. Yeah, so one other standout hackathon project for me was somebody built a lab assistant, I think, in complete augmented reality with the Vision Pro, where they kind of basically, that was kind of crazy, for preparing a lab and combining some components, they added an augmented reality thing on top of your hand that tracks in real time whether or not you took enough of one component and enough of another component. Like it turns red in real time if you took more than one. So that was super cool. And yeah, parents were great. Judges were awesome. The energy in the office was incredible. We will do more, folks. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh shit, that sounds cool. We are like committed to having an open community space in this office of ours. So we will do more. If you need to like tell your boss like, hey, there's a reason for me to go to San Francisco. You can learn a bunch. You can meet other people. This is always great. I'll be definitely talking about the hackathons that we're doing here at Weights and Biases. And I loved the fact that I got to present the chef puppet that you guys may be familiar with, the robotic arm that we 3D printed, and it got to roast a bunch of folks live. And also, I did a raffle for the Meta Ray-Bans, which I'm not going to wear on stream. Some of you know why, because this fucking thing takes over some Bluetooth stuff. Never mind. But I did a raffle, and the chef actually like roasted the whole crowd and said, "You guys are all lazy. Why are you here? Like listening to this? Go back to hacking." And then announced kind of the winner. So that was really, really fun. So that one thing that happened in Weights and Biases this week. The other thing I wanted to cover is Fester, and I really wanna show this super quick. This is not gonna be. Let's see. I just want to run through this. Share screen, and then window, and then the second window. This. Yes. All right. So 1b.me/helloweave. So I posted this fairly extensive article finally about how hacking a skeleton to detect kids' costumes and greet them with a custom spooky message. Not my best title work as well. Hacker News didn't pick it up, but yeah, you guys remember, those of you who were here last week. For those of you who weren't here last week, I dressed up as a mad scientist, and kind of my lab invention was this skeleton called Fester. we're probably not going to be able to hear this. Be able to see this. So I just wanted to show you actual kind of reactions from folks. It detected with, I want to say, 65% like accuracy. That was pretty good. This is a shark and Eeyore. It detected this. I love this like cute other mad scientist that showed up to my door and actually took a selfie with him because I was dressed as I think he went as Einstein. I'm not sure. But Fester the skeleton that I built, the uses Gemini also. Shout out to Gemini. All of this cost me exactly $0, by the way, from the LLM perspective, which is incredible. Fester was able to identify kids' costumes, which was its whole point. I posted finally my run through of everything of how I built this, folks. So if you're interested in doing skeleton brain surgery as well, I recommend you go and check out this video. It's on 1b.me/HalloWeave. I'm gonna post this on the stream as well, and then you guys should be able to see this in comments. Yeah, folks are saying that Fester is dope. I really appreciate everybody who enjoys Fester. Give it a like on YouTube because you got exactly. Never mind. So Raspberry Pi is controlling this Gemini visual for the brains. I took over kind of the LEDs. I explained the process of how I learned to do this. I believe no soldering is essentially required if you really don't want to. My kids have interacted with this, and then I shared some more examples of folks in trick or treat. We're past Halloween a little bit. I was debating on whether or not post it before Halloween so people can see it on Halloween and get excited, or after Halloween with actual examples. I'm very happy that I posted it after Halloween with actual examples. And the reason why this is again in the Weights and Biases corner is because this project was called HalloWeave, and this is Fester. This is how my I'm showing for the folks who are only listening. I'm showing my very messy desk with all the tools that was kind of needed for this. You don't have to go as messy, by the way. But all of the software requirements and, by the way, all of the stuff that you need to buy to achieve something like this are also linked here. And the reason why I'm bringing this up in the Weights and Biases corner as well is because I 100% was helped by Weave. So Fester, here's an example of Fester. I'm showing a picture of Fester standing outside of my door on Halloween night, waiting for kids, looking creepy as heck, and then not working. And the only reason I was able to know that it's not working, the camera was obscured or something like this. And I have an example of this here. Hopefully folks who are watching the screen can see. As you can see, some of the streams that I had, Weave just showed me like where the picture was supposed to be. It's just a blank picture. And I noticed this and I was like, oh shit, the camera doesn't work. And the problem with Gemini is that even if you pass a blank image and you tell it, hey, identify the costumes for these kids, Gemini will do it. Gemini will say, oh, no problem, man. Oh, welcome, spooky ghost, whatever. And like, no, there's no one there.
It'll just hallucinate.
It will just absolutely hallucinate. And so it's really hard to know if it operates or not. You need to listen. So we was instrumental. Funny. We was very instrumental for me to actually debug this, and you guys can see the date on this. 4:47 p.m. Trick or treat started at 5. Some people come before, but like most of the trick or treaters show up at around 5. 13 minutes before production. The fact that I had Weave in a hardware device disconnected, I wasn't like even SSH back then. I was just looking at the logs, helped me catch a bug. This is a screenshot from Slack of me thanking the team on actual like D-Day of Halloween. That's it. I wanted to share this with you guys super quick. And this is the write-up, 1b.me/HalloWeave. I'm gonna put it up on the I'm gonna put it up on the banner so folks can see it, like here, and set it up, and hopefully you guys can see 1b.me/HalloWeave. Check it out, and I think we're back now to chat about everything else. What do you guys think? Yam, unfortunately, is not joining us on the video. We're gonna set it up separately, and Yam will join us next time. I promise. Or are you here, Yam? Maybe? No? I don't know. Yeah, the like Niston's standing joke always applies. We get AGI before we solve all these like zoomy issues. Right, folks. It's time for us to chat about big companies' API updates, and I think we're gonna start with Haiku, right? Haiku is the first thing that we should talk about. So, who wants to pick this up? Let's do like a quick summary of like the changes. We knew about Haiku 3.5 for a while because when Sonnet 3.5 V2 or Sonnet 3.6, as some folks like to call this, was announced from Anthropic. They also said, hey, Haiku 3.5 is coming. No mention of Opus. And they didn't say when. And well, finally, Haiku 3.5 was now available via API. It's available everywhere on Vertex. It's available on the obviously Anthropic's API platform as well, and available Open Router. Shout out Open Router. Folks, thoughts? I want to hear thoughts about 3.5 Haiku before we go to the technical thing. I don't have that many. The only thing about technicals is it's more expensive than the previous Haiku, which is also something I wanna chat about. Who wants to go first?
I can tell you that I have been using it since Tuesday, so I made it my main model actually, and have been using it productively in over 110 chats, which at work, at home, all the time. So I really wanted to test it, but unfortunately I noticed it writes very well, but the intelligence is definitely lower than Sonnet, of course. We expected that. It's cheaper than that, despite being much more expensive than the old Haiku. But it's not prompt following well enough. So either it doesn't understand the prompts or it doesn't follow as well. So I had a lot of problems. I was using Perplexity and they had it in there as well. So I switched to that. And I had to regenerate with Sonnet sometimes, relatively often actually, where I noticed, okay, it's not doing what I told it, what has worked before. So regenerate with Sonnet, and it was working again, which is a bit disappointing because they say that it's better than the old Sonnet before the new release that came out on October 22. But I can't say that it is better than that. I don't have the feeling because I was using Sonnet 2.5, the old one, all the time, and it was better than what I saw now with Haiku. And yeah, that was my test, my experience in real use. And I also tried it with computer use because I thought it is cheaper, so it could work with that, but it doesn't support it yet, unfortunately. So that may be an interesting
no computer use
aspect.
yet.
No.
For this model.
Yeah, and it doesn't have image input as far as I know. So that doesn't working either yet.
Wait, no image input? Ooh.
Yeah, I think it doesn't have image input. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I read that it doesn't support it. So I haven't tried it with the images. I can check it again if it's true.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's look at some of the numbers. GPKA Diamond compared to the previous Haiku. 3.5 gets 41.6 compared to GPT-4o at 53. So obviously not there, but this is the tiny like and super fast model as well. On MMLU Pro it gets 65. And let's see what's interesting for us. Sweetbench Verified, the agentic coding, it gets 40%, so that is very decent. I love the fact that they're adding that it's surpassing Opus, Cloud 3 Opus. Do you guys remember that Opus used to be like this insanely great model, super expensive, and we're like, oh shit, Opus is like so good, whatever. This tiny model, I can't say this is like super cheap model because the price is like, I think, $1 per million tokens and then $5 per output million. So not like extremely cheap. Obviously not Gemini Flash level, but still fast and cheap. It beats Opus from 8 months ago, and Opus was back then. We were like, oh shit, Opus was like incredible. So definitely the acceleration is palpable over there. I keep thinking about Opus 3.5 and why Opus is not coming up. LDJ, did you find a way to raise your hand even in this? Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So with Haiku, I've noticed they say that it scores better than Cloud 3 Opus, like I guess overall and benchmarks, and I think that's believable. But like Wolfram said, the intelligence or reasoning seems to be lower, and I think what's happening here with the benchmarks is it's significantly better in, I guess you could say, like memorization and pattern matching, and then just also worse at like the kind of more raw intelligence reasoning. But then like the balance out of what ends up happening in the benchmarks ends up a little bit over Cloud 3 Opus just on average. And I think the types of downsides that you actually experience in real world tasks are going to be in things like very long context and multi-turn conversations, a lot of back and forth coding. If you want to do that, that's probably going to be much worse. And then certain things just like world knowledge will probably be things that it does better than Cloud 3 Opus.
Yeah. And the new Sonnet that folks starting calling 3.6. you guys okay with this naming? Are we okay with this? I decided that I'm gonna call the new one 3.5 and the old one 3.4, but it looks like we're getting towards 3.6 as 3.6 as the new Sonnet. That seems to be landed okay. I remember some controversy around this. That seems to be the model that folks are using. Anything else on Haiku? Let's take a look. Any more thoughts? Nistan stepped out a little bit. Dex, have you used the new Haiku at all?
No, I haven't. Haven't had a chance to play with it yet.
All right.
Did
okay,
you mention the price hike?
Yeah, so $1 per 1 million input tokens and then 5 per million output tokens. I believe it's 5x the previous one or some.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But it's still cheaper than Sonnet, right?
It's
significantly so.
Yes, it's still cheaper than Sonnet. The thing is, let's talk about the price hike for a little bit, LDJ, because we expect models to get cheaper. This is the expectation. OpenAI set this up with every model released by like 80% price decrease and then 90% price decrease and like 99%. They keep doing this. As far as I'm remembering, this is the first major lab that released a model that's kind of like superseding the previous model and didn't keep the price, not only the same price, actually increased price from the previous one. Specifically for Haiku, the whole offering was it's fast and cheap. And it's like it's smart and compatible for some stuff, but it's fast and cheap. And Haiku doesn't compete with Gemini Pro and doesn't compete with 4.0 or definitely not 0.1. Haiku competes with Flash. Haiku competes with Mini. This is the playground of Haiku, and I think that they're not price competitive with Flash at all. Flash is insanely cheap. Like Flash is free. Literally, I just said this for Halloween, the project that I did, and for Chef, I paid $0. I was on the free tier, and even if I wasn't on the free tier, we had Simon Wilson here on the chat as well. On the paid tier, you get like million tokens for free until you start paying for Flash. It's like ridiculous. Google is basically like, hey, here's free intelligence for you. It's like as free as air, basically. So I gotta wonder, who are they like trying to get with this pricing, and especially with the increase in pricing, and how much that thing will work for them? Thoughts, folks? Would love to hear thoughts.
I think maybe they just need to really get their revenue up. They need to compete more with OpenAI, kind of show that they have cash flow going to investors. And actually, the head of applied research at OpenAI recently kind of commented on the situation on Twitter. And I have the tweet pulled up. He basically said, Jimmy Apple said, hope OpenAI and others won't follow. Unusual indeed. And then Boris Power, the head of applied research at OpenAI, replied, it seems very important to never do certain things if you are to remain a trustworthy platform that other companies can rely on. This seems like one of them. So it sounds like at least OpenAI people are kind of firm on not wanting to do these types of things.
Yeah.
Is there anything like? Do you think this has anything to do with? I mean, I've always looked at Claude and Anthropic as sort of like premium in some way or another. Is this them just trying to like preserve their vibe as sort of like the best of class in whatever category they're in?
Could be. Although I don't know if Haiku is actually best of class in the category of fast and cheap. because like cheapness is part of the category of fast and cheap. All right, folks. So yeah, definitely price hike. Haiku is still very, very decent. It was always very, very decent. There was a period of time where Haiku was like the only fast and cheap and like very smart model. It's no longer the case. I'm very partial to Flash. Flash is just incredible and like free, basically free. And so I love using Flash myself. All right, let's move on.
Can I just add something?
Yes, please.
Because it is writing German very well, which was a very bad point of the old one. So even if it's a smaller model, its language capabilities are great. And just to confirm, so I checked with the API just now, and you can't upload an image, which is funny because I did while I was testing it, but Perplexity switched to GPT-4o in the background. I just noticed what happens because I thought I could upload images. No, it just switches the model. So it's impossible to use images with it yet, but it's coming, they said.
It's coming. So in the things that, in the area of things that are coming, vision related as well, we now have access to Grok via API, and we already had access to Grok via API, so why are we announcing this again? They're not paying us. Nobody pays us. Oh, I think we have Yam on video finally. Yeah, what's up?
We made it.
Yes,
finally.
Did you reinstall like a Linux or something to get here?
I switched phone. Like,
okay, cool.
To this extreme, yeah.
Yeah, I see you have an awesome mic. I don't think we can hear you from the awesome mic, but we can definitely see the mic.
You can't. Nothing works. Pretty much nothing works. Yeah.
All right, welcome, Yam. Folks, it's so good to like see folks on stage. We've been hanging out for like more than a year together. I think this is the first time we're like hanging out on stage. So this is awesome. A little celebration for us, and I think I like this. We should continue. The next thing that I wanted to chat about is XAI Grok. We're getting access to it. We've gotten access to it before. The experience they had was sucky. The reason was you would sign up and then immediately tell you, hey, your organization is out of credits. Like immediately, there was like a red banner on top, your organization is out of credits. That was like a experience immediately straight up. And then let's say you wanted to pay. None of us want to pay straight up. Like we want to play with your stuff before we even get excited. We all have open router keys anyway. We know that like Alex Atala is going to go and buy your, on the back end, going to buy your API. So like the reason for me to go into your platform is just because I'm very interested. I know some people will go directly. So showing me a red banner out of the blue is not. So they understood this. They got the feedback, and now everybody gets $25 for free on the Grok until the end of this year. $25 a month for free credits. I believe the Grok is around. $5 on input and $10 on output, something like this. Let me take a look. I have this in my notes. And not super cheap. You get access to Grok Beta, whatever that means. It's not. Yeah, 128,000 tokens, context length, function calling, system prompts, and vision capable coming next week. So this is like in the topic of like what's coming next week. Vision capable is coming next week, and it's only until the end of 24. $5 per input, $15 per output, which is like GPT-4o level, which is, but as we've said before, the benefits of using Grok is, well, it's less censored. They are purposely building this to be less censored. And so, Wolfram, I would love to hear from you on that experience if you had a chance to use it. And LDJ, maybe you raised your artificial hand, so go ahead, go first.
Yeah, I think it's just maybe worth clarifying real quick. We're talking about Grok with a K and not Grok with a Q, just in case anybody's confused.
Grok, Elon Musk's OpenAI competitor that is going to. They're training the next generation of it right now on insane amount of compute in the Memphis.
Which is maybe why they have the pricing at this point, because maybe they're kind of trying to prepare people for so it doesn't look as big of a jump when they release their next 10x model or whatever.
Which
soon
is supposedly December. Supposedly either the training run is going to end in December, or even the model is going to be something around December. As we said, 100.
Do we know details?
The only scale of the Memphis supercluster we know is that 100,000 H100s were going live, and then they mentioned that they're going to add. It's going to be a total of like around 200,000 H100s because they added H200s or something. So it's going to be an insane, massive, like it's one of the biggest ones. They scaled it super quick. Those are the things we know. We don't know anything else. We know that Grok is multimodal because vision is now possible there. Vision was added, by the way, last week to the UI as well. But on the API level, we just got access for free to their stuff. Wolfram, anything else to add?
So like you, I was very excited when I read the tweet and system prompt support and everything. So I immediately went and had to log in, and again, although I was logged in X, and it immediately said not in your region again. It's bad. But you know what I realized? What may be a real problem is what happens if you get banned for using. If you get banned on X, you can't use that. Or if you do a chat with the AI and try to uncensor it or do anything and you get banned for that. So the connection between services, just like when you are on Amazon, you use a TV and you have the shop and you get banned for problems with the shop. What happens then? So that is something where I'm not so sure if I really want to use everything from the same provider. If Anthropic bans me, okay, I can still use my Google Mail. What happens if Google bans me for any reason? Can I still use my AI? Can I still use my mail? So that is something we should also keep in mind. And speaking of uncensored or more open models, I think if you prompt it right, Sonnet is so uncensored. It does stuff. I got another warning by mail that my account is now flagged and they inject. We had that another time, this topic where they inject stuff like talk ethically and so on. So I had my AI expand its system prompt to detect those injections and reject them and report them to me. And that is working as well with the good models. So yeah,
awesome.
You can use every model, and they have a lot of content, I must say, that is you would be surprised if you just unjail it, unchain it, unleash it.
Yeah, so you could do this in other models. It feels like Grok's like proposition is that it's by default like this, right? And this is like what we talked about. Like
I didn't really think that way, because when I was using it with my character and stuff, it didn't embody it as much. So it said, "Oh, I'm just an AI" and stuff like that, despite the system prompt. So I can't even say for those purposes, I say role playing and stuff like that. I can't say that it is more uncensored. Maybe it is less woke, maybe that.
Yeah.
But if you try to make it a character and stuff, Claude is better.
So Claude is better for role playing.
Even uncensored. Claude, if you uncensor it with a good prompt, it's much better.
Interesting. All right, so this was the XAI Grok updates for us, and Vision is coming next week as far as we've heard. Let's talk about OpenAI. So we've waited, no O1 full for us yet, but we know the O1 full exists because some people got access to it. So this week, O1 full was dropped by mistake, or not mistake probably. Somebody got access to O1 full, and not only they got access to O1 full, and folks, remember, we try very hard to not report on like speculation or conspiracy theories on ThursdAI. We try to report on like what actually happened. This actually happened. Folks like Pliny the Liberator and some other folks, Pliny already like tried to jailbreak O1 full. There's screenshots of O1 full. We know that it's like live in OpenAI for a while. We heard rumors that it's waiting until election is over, and shit, I said the word. And but that's why we're hoping that it's gonna come today. Maybe it still will. O1. What currently we have is O1 Mini and O1 Preview. So hopefully we'll get O1 Mini, O1 Full. This is the reasoning model from OpenAI. What we know from the screenshot is that O1 is, and they've announced this in Dev Day, O1 will support function calling, which it doesn't support right now. It will support, hopefully, system message, which it doesn't support right now. It will support vision, which is very important. And the screenshot that I saw was somebody uploading a screenshot of something and saying, "Hey, O1, what is this?" And O1 starts thinking about this. Folks, I'm assuming that you saw it as much as I saw it, the brief 8-hour period or like 3-hour period that somebody got access to O1 full. Expectations from that model to complete the break? LDJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I think a lot of people should keep in mind that the jump from O1, or the jump from GPT-4o to O1 Preview is almost the same as O1 Preview to O1 in a lot of use cases. So for competition math and competition code here, for the qualifying exams for the Math Olympiad, for example, it goes from 13% to 56, or sorry, about 13% to 45%. to when you jump to O1 preview, and then it jumps all the way to around 75% for full O1. And then for competition code, it's around 62% for O1 preview and jumps all the way to 89% for O1 full. So yeah, I think things are going to get exciting.
I don't know how to raise hands in this. So anyway, let's. You said something interesting. Let's be honest. What do you feel in terms of jump from GPT 4.0 to O1? What do you think? If we open this subject already, you have use cases where you really feel the difference?
Yeah. I will say that I often find myself, I can give a practical use case for folks who are listening. Maybe this will help. I am hiring for a social media role here at Weights and Biases. For some reason, I was given the full control of social media. So if Weights and Biases reacts to you in a funny, meme way, that was me on Twitter, and for some reason they think it's a good idea. We'll see if it turns out to be a good idea. So I'm hiring for a social media role, and I'm scanning, like I'm going through a bunch of CVs, and I'm taking notes in my conversations. I noticed that like what I do is like I take the transcription of the whole conversation that I had, and I need to answer a bunch of questions, and I dump the whole transcription in ChatGPT. I noticed that O1 does a better way of a better summarization of what I need from this transcription, substantially so. Better, really? More thoughtful, more direct, and it's like a long conversation, not super long, 45 minutes. I notice, like I do both, and I notice that O1 just gives me better answers. I can't tell you exactly why. I know that like 4.0 does a good job. O1 just feels more. I wish that I had O1 with the search, because search is dope, and I really like the grounding.
This is what I wanted to say. You can't have O1 with advanced voice mode, for example. Yeah. You can't have it with search, and I really hope that we're gonna get everything, everything together in the same, all models, all features, because I don't know, advanced voice is really, really useful for me at least. Really useful. So
advanced voice mode is incredible. I keep using this all the time. But advanced voice mode with O1 would be, you ask it a question, and it's like, hey, let me think. And then you have to wait for 45 seconds.
You can use the normal voice. And yeah, you need to wait a little bit, but the normal voice, in the app, it works. I did it today.
Did not know this. All right, folks, here
if you didn't change the model in the background, I did it today, but in the app, it works.
Interesting. All right. LDJ, go ahead. LDJ.
Yeah, I believe in the
hand raising here.
Yeah, in the recent Q&A that OpenAI actually did on Reddit, I believe they did mention they plan to bring in the other things, like I think they even mentioned search and other stuff that they plan to bring to the O1 models. And they even said, or Sam said in a recent interview about how they plan to bring images, and he kind of alluded to almost image generation. It sounds like he was alluding to as well, and saying that we should expect big, steep improvements to images soon, is what he said. And he was kind of vague about whether he meant image perception or image generation, but it kind of sounded like he was alluding to generation.
So image perception, from the leak this week, we know that it's there. Right now, O1 and O1 Mini don't support image input. From the leak this week, somebody uploaded a screenshot. We saw it does, and that would be great. Image perception or like image generation, there is a very famous, if you guys remember, Greg Bachman posted this about 4.0, not 0.1. An image, somebody writing like something on a whiteboard, and a person like writing, you guys remember this? And it was like an output of an image, and everybody's like, what the fuck? And then nothing happened since then. And for folks who are listening and not understanding what we're talking about, this is not DALL-E, the model that gets prompts in text mode from the model and gets like an API call. This is not what happens on Grok on X, where you ask it, hey, generate the image of Trump kissing Kamala. Sorry, I said, this is most of what people use Grok for in image generation. And then you get Grok calling in text form the API for Flux, and Flux generates an image. This is not that. This is the model itself knowing how to generate images as well as output text, right? So full multimodality on the output as well. I tried to coin the term MMAO, multimodal on inputs and outputs. And so we are getting multimodal outputs models on multimodality of text and audio now already. So the advanced voice mode, for example, that's an omni model that outputs on Go ahead, Jan.
This is the O of GPT-4o.
Yes.
O1 also has O. It's not the same Omni. It's not an Omni model. I don't know. It's like I'm not sure.
I heard Sam Altman talk about the O1 in O1, and the O there, I think it stands for multiple things, but specifically, the joke there is that this is the joke, and Sam Altman confirmed it, that it's a alien of extraordinary ability. O1 is the type of visa that many people in the US get. And the joke is that alien of extraordinary ability, O1 is alien. Also, O1 is like 0-1, because like people say O when they mean actually 0. And 0-1, they basically reset. It's like a new kind of model. And this is going to be O1 and O2. They confirmed there's going to be like, the GPT series will continue like separately. So they did confirm this. But I heard Sam Altman confirm this in front of Sigil Wen. Sigil Wen is an engineer, AI engineer in San Francisco here, who does the O1 visa support community. So if you have an O1 visa, he knows who you are, and you know who he is. He's giving out these hoodies. If you saw most of the people in Silicon Valley that wear these hoodies say alien of extraordinary ability, I saw when Sam and him chatted about those hoodies, and Sam Altman confirmed the joke that went about, there was a post before they released the O1 publicly on the Twitter that said, I'm an alien of extraordinary ability, and O1 is the type of visa that these people get. Yes, Yam, I saw your face.
If
I
everyone
agree.
everyone could stop the confusing names of Sonnet 3.5, Sonnet 3.5 again, and GPT-4o and O, it would be just name it in a different way. Just so it won't be confusing. But yeah.
Yeah, I loved when we had Claude Sonnet, Claude Haiku, and Claude Opus. That was incredible. That was like it was an incredible move. And then they kept this going. LDJ, let's go, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, sure. I remember in the recent Q&A that they did too, there was also somebody asked an OpenAI employee that was like, I think it was Mark Chen or somebody that was a vice president, about what does the O stand for, and their official answer was OpenAI. Like literally, O stands for OpenAI, and I guess there's also the extra meaning in puns of O1 visas and stuff. But I think what Yen was initially, I think what you're about to say is about how O1 might have omnimodal abilities, and I think that's still true, because if you guys remember, some people were getting emails on the initial O1 preview release about stuff like, please don't try and jailbreak GPT-4o with reasoning.
Yes.
And they were originally referring to it as GPT-4o with reasoning, which kind of seems to entail that it's, this large fine-tune over GPT-4o, which would then mean that because it's the same architecture, naturally they would be able to have those things like image generation and other 4o abilities.
Yep, thank you, LDJ, for that. And then I think that
Can I just insert something?
Yeah, go ahead, Wolfram, and then we'll
because what came to my mind now, you said that you have more, or that O1 is better than 4o. I totally agree with that. But what would be interesting of you or the others if you have compared it to the new Sonnet, for example, because in the benchmark they said it reaches even the O1 levels. And yeah, does any of you have tried that, compared it?
I sometimes use the API of O1 Mini just for the steps, and then I use that in LM6 Arena to just ask Sonnet and some other model to follow those steps and then do the rest of the problem. So they're stepping. The way that they handle that is still top notch. Nobody has done it anywhere as good. I know a lot of people are trying. There are new models out coming with more chain of thought stuff, but nothing comes even close. So it still outputs the best steps. In terms of like how talented is it as a developer to solve this very particular issue, it still does feel like just asking GPT-4o sometimes. Like I've seen the particular solution repeated, even though I asked O1 Mini and O1. And Sonnet did obviously quite a bit better. I've seen some interesting things that sometimes Sonnet on the desktop takes some time to answer, and I don't know if that's their DevOps versus using it on the API on AWS. It's often is quite a bit worse in API in AWS, to the point where I just end up going on LM6 Arena and just like using it there if it's something that I don't care about it being public. So yeah, that's my take on it. I don't think the model itself is necessarily smarter. It's their operations and their order of execution and their stepping is just on another level.
Yeah, and also just for folks, a reminder for folks, O1 with reasoning. Sorry, 4O with reasoning is O1. The reasoning behind the scenes we don't get to see, but like folks who work at OpenAI see the actual reasoning, and it's quite awesome. But what we do get to see is another model summarizing that reasoning, and so even that is helpful per Newton. Like even grabbing that and sending this to Claude and saying, hey, this is like the steps for reasoning, give me the output. Even that is helpful on its own. Right, folks, let's move on because we also have, I want to chat with Dex about some stuff. But this is the last thing. And Yam, this is, I saw you go hard about this. You want to introduce what's going on here?
Right,
Especially this graph
basically in a simple sentence, there is a trade-off.
But for folks who can't see the screen, tell them what they're seeing.
Okay, you are watching the world's first transformer ASIC, pretty much. In simple words, as simple as possible, there is a trade-off when working on hardware. You print stuff on silicon, it's physical location, there is a trade-off. So you either have a more flexible chip that can do all sorts of instructions and all sorts of things, or you focus it on a different, on a specific use case. For example, here you focus it on a specific architecture, so it's less programmable, but you get a much more powerful chip that can do that thing. So there is a trade-off. What I'm saying, and some people agree, I think the transformers aren't going anywhere. In my opinion, people think that there will be, they might go one day. I don't think so. I think they're here to stay. And what we see here, this product bets on this exactly, and pretty much burn transformers physically on a chip in silicon. And you can see the performance gains at the beginning of this landing page. You can see the big performance gains that are expected from this. I just want to say...
big is an understatement. Wait, hold up.
Oh,
big
yeah.
Big is an understatement.
Oh, yeah.
Folks, we're
yeah.
talking about like GPUs, H100s, or 8 times B200s, like the most insane machine that Jensen stood on stage, NVIDIA being the biggest company in the world, probably because of that specific thing. They're getting 400 tokens per second on Llama 70B, maybe 500. This is 500,000. This is like what, I don't know, 3 orders of magnitude more? Like 2-3 orders of magnitude more? I'm not good on my whooms, but this is a lot of whooms. A lot. This is an insane jump in speed because like literally transformers, all of the thing. My question to you is that, is the transformer in the architecture, but you can put different models, or is the model on the architecture?
Look, I don't know the exact specifics of how is it implemented, but just from what I've read, it's pretty much designed for transformer-based models. So you probably can load whatever. No, you can load whatever model that you want, and as long as it fits the architecture that it supports. So I assume, for example, that things like Mamba or state space models probably are not supported, but it's not. I don't know. I don't want to say anything that is not accurate. But I suppose this is not meant for that. And it's okay. I mean, this is exactly what you're getting and what you're getting is the speed up that you all see. I just want to point out 2 things. First, if you want to see the same thing that already happened a couple of years ago in a different field, you can look at crypto mining, Bitcoin mining specifically, that started, everyone started with GPUs, and specifically Bitcoin mining went all in on ASICs, and just you cannot mine Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin. I'm liberty to saying specifically Bitcoin, because every other coin, it doesn't work with this, because exactly when you work with an ASIC, you are burning something specific into the silicon. So if you're mining Bitcoin, you can't mine Ethereum. So what I'm saying is that it already happened in a specific field. You niche down your hardware and you get a tremendous amount of speed up. Second thing I want to say, by the way, there is a large ecosystem here of AI hardware. I know at least 12 startups working on AI hardware over here locally. So I talked to some people about this already. It's not magic. Hardware is not magic. Usually when you see a huge boost in something, usually there is a cost. And I'm not saying that anything here is misleading. It might be the best chip in the world. I'm just saying that it's not magic. For example, you cannot train with it. There might be latency. There might be latency for loading the model. It might consume a lot of energy. But there are trade-offs for anything, because it's not magic at the end. Hardware is hard. You print something and it's just physically there. You can just reprint whatever you want, but it's great to see. In my opinion, it's great to see. It's time that the field matured that much that we start to see specific hardware with neural network architectures burnt in silicon. It's amazing to see, in my opinion. And
GPUs were made for games. And we're like, they're no longer, like, obviously.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that about
they were
Jensen.
popularized by games.
What I think is important to say that GPUs and TPUs and so on are probably going to still dominate the training, while you are going to see inference chips such as this competing with one another. Just because, but I'm not sure you're going to see ASIC for training, because this is pretty much tensor cores, and what is going on. This is pretty much a TPU already, if you think about it. So yeah.
All right, LDJ and Nistan would love to hear your thoughts super quick, and then we're gonna move on and chat with Dex about the human layer, and then we're gonna close out the stream because we're almost at 2 hours.
Yeah, so I think a big thing we didn't mention yet is the Oasis demo, which is the Minecraft AI demo that a lot of people may have seen online. That was, I think, a collaboration between Descartes and ThursdAI, which is this company making the ASICs. And it's not running on these chips yet. I don't think they have them made in production or deployed yet. But they say the demo's currently running at 360p with a very short context length on H100s. But once they do have the ThursdAI chips out and running these Minecraft AI simulations, they think they can get it to 4K resolution in real time with multi-minute context length. And so that will be really interesting and actually something that people might just do for fun rather than a cool kind of gimmick, right?
All right. Are you guys ready for me to wrap this up?
Yeah, Nistan, give us.
I think Etched is a... So I'm biased a bit because I've reviewed for other like pretty well-known investors, a lot of chip startups, and the vast majority is a lot of BS. So I am biased against in that matter. And I think Etched is a complete scam, to be honest. It's not a real chip. It does not exist at all. They just paid this other company, Oasis, to make a joint blog post. It doesn't even run on their hardware. They don't even have a demo board running on their hardware. It's all just hypothetical, just another VC shiny website product made to be sold to other investors. And this is not going to go anywhere. And so far, I don't think I've been wrong on these predictions. I think this whole thing is complete BS. They have a small chance now that they have 120 million in funding to maybe find the right people to hire. It's just that knowing actual FPGA devs and how small the community of electrical engineers who like understand this stuff is, I'd say good luck. But this is not real. And if you look at the pictures of the die of the H100 and you look at the rendering that Etched has been using this time, you can see a lot of similarities there. Like it basically just looks like someone took that in Blender and shaped things around. Just look at the Anantech H100 die. It's basically that, and just added some freaking stars and stuff in the middle. So that's going to be my public assessment.
We have Mr. on the show, folks. This is exactly right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm not affiliated with anybody. This is what I think, and if I'm wrong, you can always just show me the working chip. It's.
Yeah, and if folks from Edge are listening to this and you want to prove Nistan wrong, show up with the chip. We would love to see.
Yeah,
how many tokens per second do you get?
Yeah.
Could I push back on this a little bit?
Sure.
One last one, folks. We need to move on. We actually do need to move on. Come on, one last one.
Okay. I guess real quick would be, I think it's just meant to kind of be artist interpretation on that, and I think maybe they should make it that more clear that it's not the real chip on the website. But they do seem to have some crack people that are actually in the industry and experienced in chip development at places like NVIDIA and other companies on their team. And the CEO himself wrote some of the backend for Apache TVM and some cool things like that. So I think people should kind of look at the team behind the companies, kind of look more at the details like that. And yeah, I think it's a little hard to call them just a scam.
Just to like, Nissan has colorful language, but I will say, like, coming into this not knowing anything, I saw the website, I was like, oh shit, ASIC is here, maybe I can buy this soon. Now realizing that this is like a 3D printed, 3D designed virtual thing, and maybe there's not a chip. This feels to me
that's not right. Not right. Yeah. To at least tell. I mean, it's fine if you want to invest or raise money, but you need to clarify that this is the stage you are.
This is the level. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are chips.
I got excited by the 500K, and I love the wet blanket that Nissan threw on this specifically for me, because 500K. Absolutely.
If you also specify numbers, where the numbers come from. I mean, numbers are.
Yeah, we like numbers.
Are a thing. I mean, these are numbers.
It's very hard to make this, and I think we have to respect all the work that people like Talas and Tense Torrent are doing, and they're actually shipping them. And it's very, very hard to make the ASICs, and you're just putting up PowerPoints. I think that doesn't acknowledge like the massive amount of work that people who are shipping actual hardware put in it. And also it doesn't. There are many challenges with actually doing it in hardware that even Cerebras is facing with getting longer context to work. And the moment that you leave the chip and you go into memory, you're still faced with the memory wall problem, which is also a big famous video on agenometry. You should really watch that, the AI memory wall problem from a year or something ago, so you'll understand what actually this entails. And please don't just make claims, because I'm just gonna call them out pretty unfiltered on the internet.
And in a very unbiased way as well, which I appreciate you for. I want more colorful yogurt-like metaphors next time. Thank you. All right, folks, moving on. And this was most of the coverage for this week. The last thing that we haven't covered, and we don't have time for necessarily, but Mochi, the video model is now down to 12 gigabytes and soon to be run on hardware consumer devices. And now I think we're moving on to chat with Dex about some of the stuff that I heard and agent stuff as well. And then we're gonna close out after that. But definitely stick with us, because I'll do a recap of everything we've chatted about as well. So looks like my computer is like a little bit slow this time. I'm gonna send folks to the backstage, so you guys can go, and feel free to go to the restroom, whatever, if you want. All right, folks. So for those of you who, Dexter, this is your first time on the show.
Absolutely.
Welcome. Feel free to introduce yourself to folks who never heard from you and then don't know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, totally. Thank you. And this has been super fun. Super. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And I'll just say for Human Layer, we're building an API and SDK that helps AI agents contact humans for help, feedback, approvals, whatever they need. And it's really built for what I think is the future of AI agents, AI applications. I actually think the word agent is super overloaded, and at this point, we spent the last 3 months spending more time talking about what it means than like how to build them and how to make them do useful things. But what I believe is the future is what we call these like outer loop agents, right? Chat UI is very common for AI applications. But what I'd like to see, and what I see more and more people building, are these agents that run out in the world. They're completely disconnected from a human. They're out there managing their own time, maybe even managing their own token spend, performing a variety of tasks. And when you take the human out of the direct supervision that you get in a chat UI, then you need new sets of tools. And we were building these sorts of agents at my previous startup, and we realized, everyone building AI agents is eventually going to want to deploy them to the cloud in the background. And at that point, they're going to need ways to get back in touch with humans. We were building this SQL warehouse janitor bot that would drop a table if it hadn't been used in 90 days. I'm like, well, I'm not 100% confident in this technology yet, and we're a 2-person startup, so I don't have time to spend 3 months like getting all the evals and RLHF right to guarantee that it's never going to do something bad. So let's just rig it up with Slack. When it wants to do something scary, it'll ping us. We can review it. We can respond, and it's kind of getting towards what I think is going to become a bigger and bigger paradigm, which is like UI-less or app-less, I've been calling it, where because you have language models behind everything, you can build a really great, really powerful application that has no web app, has no UI, and just communicates with people where they are, whether it's over email, over Slack, over SMS, over WhatsApp.
Yep.
So that's kind of the dream of Human Layer. We're building some agents, kind of getting in the trenches to learn more about what is on the cutting edge. But at the end of the day, we want to be the platform that enables people to build agents that do bigger things, more detached, and that feel more like this true virtual teammate, virtual coworker kind of experience.
Yeah. So I wanna. So thanks for the introduction, Human Layer. Your role in Human Layer?
I am the founder, CEO, CTO. We build all the things.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. How long have you been doing Human Layer for?
So we started exploring this, or I basically became obsessed with this around like early August, and spent 2-3 weeks building the MVP. Came out to San Francisco, launched it with the AI Tinkerers community. Another shout out, by the way.
Shout out to Joe. Yeah.
Joe's done an amazing job of cultivating a community where every single person you talk to is super technical, like actively building stuff. There's no, you go hang out in Discord, there's a lot of like hype people, and you can see kind of the lineage from the crypto to the meme stocks to the NFTs to like now there's a lot of that flowing into AI, and Joe's events are super high signal, and so we launched that after 3 weeks and got a ton of pull, ton of great conversations. Like we found our people, and so that was when we kind of decided to pivot full time and like let's help everybody build the next generation of agents.
Yeah. So here's how Dex ended up on the show. And folks, there's maybe a lesson for me in there, but definitely a lesson for folks who come up to me. We chatted for a brief period, like you said, human loop, whatever. Dex is higher than me, which is not very common for me because I'm 6'3", and I was like, all right, let me chat with this tall dude. And then at some point they were like, hey, Dex was like, hey, maybe I can come on your show. And I was like, see, now you've lost your chance. Usually when folks ask me to come on the show, that's usually when I'm saying like, nope.
That's the rule, right? If you ask to come on, then you can't.
Yeah, usually.
It, right?
And then during the hackathon theme was human in the loop. So many folks built things where a human was required. This was like the theme of the hackathon, that you build something that runs, and then the human like gets involved in some sort of way, which is perfect for what you're building. And then like many people used Human Layer, and I think I saw a demo from you either talking about this. Yeah, I think you gave a little demo.
Oh yeah, the LinkedIn inbox assistant.
Yeah, and I looked at this and I was like, oh, that's super cool. And then we chatted, and you actually showed me like a cool demo with Slack as well. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. And I was like, hey, I would love to chat about this on the podcast. So this is the way. This is the way. Show me something cool, and I would love to share it with you folks. And what I loved about this specifically is the idea of, look, I want to run stuff, and I have a few projects in mind that I would definitely want to have this intelligence of mine that runs somewhere, that does something to trigger and say, hey, Alex, wherever I'm out in the world, and you shouted out like, hey, which platforms would you guys want? And I immediately said Telegram, because Telegram is the one that like I automate a lot, and the API is great and like super easy. You could probably bang it out in a day. Send me a Telegram message and say, hey, Alex, what do? I would love this from an EA. That if I have an EA, I should probably get one. I would love this from somebody that helps me on different things, and I would love this from my AIs that I would run. And this seemed to me the best way to achieve this. Now, here's my question to you. I could technically write this up. Feels like that I could rig this up with some function calling. I don't know exactly how, but what do you say to folks who are like technical and they think they can write this up? Because I have the answer, but I would love to hear what you answer.
Yeah, it's something I thought about a lot in the first couple months of building this. And it's like, cool, took a couple weeks. We can rig it up with the Slack API. We can catch webhooks. We can fire that back down to the agent. I will tell you, after the last month or so of building things, it gets really complex from a AI agent, like context window management and figuring out which messages go to which agent and all that kind of stuff. I just spent the new thing I've been obsessed with in the last like week is agents that operate over email. So what I've wanted more than anything else for a long time is something where I can just forward an email to a specific email address, and that goes into an agent's context window. Like I got this email from our compliance provider, and it said, hey, you need to file your California annual compliance report, or there's going to be a $250 penalty. And like I have a guy who does it. I have an operations contractor. He loves doing this kind of stuff. I don't know why. He's awesome. And I forward him the emails like, hey, can you take
his
care of
context,
this?
yeah. Go ahead.
But he's part-time, and I'm sometimes wondering like what he's working on or when things are. What I really want to do is like when I get one of those things is I go into Linear, which we use for all of our projects, and I create a ticket, and then I ping him on the ticket, and then I also forward him the email. And it's just like kind of a lot of, it's enough work, it's not hard, but it's enough work to take me out of flow when I'm just trying to like grind through my email inbox. And so what I'd love to have, and what I'm like working on probably this afternoon, is like, I want to forward an email to some special address. It goes into an agent, that agent calls some tools and does some stuff. And then when it's ready to do the scary thing, like create a ticket or send someone else an email on my behalf, it gets back with me on email and says, hey, here's what I'm going to do, and I can just like explicitly approve or reject that action. And if it has questions, it emails me back as well, and so I can hold a conversation with the agent asynchronously. It's running out in the world, and so that's like one of the core problems that I've been really excited about recently.
Yeah.
I think that answers your question.
You got there and then you moved into an email thing, and I appreciate this because I have multiple emails I would love to just like send and for additional context. But
yeah, back to why wouldn't you just build this yourself?
Yes.
Like, once you want to do Slack and email and maybe multiplex across multiple people and say, all of these 2 people and any of these 4 people have to approve this before it can go through, it becomes kind of something that, well, do I really want to like spend all my time building like approval flows, or do I want to build my product?
that's my answer.
Yeah.
So Weights and Biases Weave, which is an observability framework, which you should use, absolutely. People have been doing this for themselves, right? Either people are logging and saving these logs in log files, or people are dumping this in a sequence file, whatever. Some people are building like a rudimentary UI on top of this, and people are saying like, like some people are like, why do I need this? And the feature set that we've gotten to, there's no way for a company to build this and the product. It's just like, there's no way, because the amount of complexity, the fact that we're like always online with the SLA, like all these things, infrastructure as a service basically is on top of it. There's a best UI on top of it. So I absolutely have an answer to this question. I just wanted you to verbalize this. But then you pivoted into something I would love to talk about. Open Interpreter, which you probably, have you heard about Open Interpreter?
Yes, I've heard it a bunch of times. Remind me which one that is.
Open Interpreter is the software that runs on your Mac and executes commands on your Mac, like computer use, but on your Mac and does things on your
That's
Mac.
right.
Also from Tinkers in Seattle,
Yep.
and computer use that from Anthropic.
Yep.
All these things, they have something that runs on your computer, and it's scary as hell. And the way the Anthropic dealt with this, they said, hey, we're releasing this agent, or not even agent, the model that knows how to do this, and then we don't give you a tool to do this. We give you a Docker container only for developers, whatever, and it only runs in a Docker, and you don't put any deal. They're like super scared about like what this could do, and they put this in Docker, and then also like it asks you some stuff, but mostly it doesn't ask you anything, and it expects you to be there while it does its thing.
Yeah.
Open Interpreter also. Multiple chat GPT stuff, they expect you to look at the thing and like it scrolls.
Yeah, you click a button to approve the
Yes,
things in the chat.
and you wait there while it does its thing. And I hate it. I'm done waiting. Like, I don't want waiting. And you're talking about async.
Yeah.
Async means I'm free to do whatever I want until, and you're switching the formula basically. Like the agent waits for me and I'm not waiting on the agent. And that's what I found novel. And I think this is the reason I want to talk to you. Would love to hear more about this, because are there any, so kind of Devin kind of also does that a little bit. Devin goes and does its own thing, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go and come back and there's like full stack of software. I don't have access to Devin, by the way, Steven, please give me access. But this is kind of at least the approach of these like newer tools, unlike Cursor. They're like, they do a bunch of things and then you come back. I definitely wanna think of a world where like this happens more than I have to wait for them. Have you seen some of the stuff that you built what actually is practical in the real world for you at this point that like you are able to take off your plate because you have now stuff that are asynchronous and you can go and enjoy your life?
Yeah, great question. So like some things like lead research, I think that like building robo SDRs for very specific use cases to go search very specific places where your users are. We're at the point where that thing can go find leads, go scrape a couple web pages to get their email or contact info, go all the way to the point of drafting the email, and that's when I get a Slack message that is like, hey, here's the person, here's what I'm thinking, and here's what I'm going to send them. And I've gotten to the point where after working with it for a couple weeks, and at the beginning I was rejecting almost half of the messages. I was like, this is wrong, or the tone is weird, or it just still, even when the bot doesn't hallucinate, even when it calls the function right, sometimes it just sounds bad, and I'm not comfortable having AI generated content go out with my name on it, right? And so we review those. Exactly.
Yes.
And I'm the type of person that I don't have the patience to like build a giant eval set and test and test and test and test. I want to YOLO things out, keep an eye on them, guarantee nothing bad is going to happen, and then as it's operating in the real world on production data, I am constantly every couple days going in and updating the prompts and tuning it. And now it's to the point where I accept 90% of the messages.
90%.
Yeah.
What changed?
I just updated the prompt a bunch.
Oh, you keep sending yeses, and then as you know what happens, and so you know the examples.
I'm seeing every single thing it gets wrong. And eventually we'd like to build features to kind of automate that part.
Yeah, it feels like
you throw the bot in a channel with your 4 salespeople, and they're reviewing all of that, and suddenly you've created like very highly motivated data labelers, because if they don't give feedback in the moment to the bot, then an email's going to go out with their name on it that's not great.
Yeah, so the additional, so first of all, yes, absolutely, they have human labeling built in there. You I'm thinking of like where's the wheel of improvement that's automatic, that you don't have to like go and change the prompt. Follow up on one thing is that the idea came to me that when I discussed my project with you that I want to build, you're talking specifically about approval or denial of features. What I wanted to chat about about is additional context.
Yeah.
So approval denial is like some sort of context in my head, and the project that I wanted to, I'll just tell you folks, like if somebody wants to build this, we have a GitHub repo for Weave. And that GitHub repo, like folks are working like crazy. They release a bunch of stuff and they cut a release, and that release notes is like vast. Developers can't be bothered to put like very nice formatted message of what they built, and sometimes it's connected to like a Jira ticket, it's another URL, sometimes whatever. And I want to automate some of that to be able to deliver to developers who are reading those news, or users who use Weave, like a nice like formatted change log that makes sense for them. Even a screenshot, I think you suggested, like browser-based, whatever. Even a screenshot of like what's new on a practical level. I want to automate this with AI. I think it should be possible. And so in my head, like ingesting some of this and then running through some of the links, whatever, like already automatable to a sense. But then I want a human in the loop to review this. The human in the loop, or maybe multiple humans in the loop, like maybe the product manager, etc. Because it's obvious that the sloppy machine can hallucinate and then just say something that's wrong, and we're like, oh shit, no, that we didn't release this. Sorry, folks. So you can't automate this fully. You can like go all the way to prepare a draft, and you want to approve or accept this. But then on the way, I want additional context from the folks. I maybe want to find the developer that's tagged on the GitHub issue, etc. How are you thinking about additional context on the way to approval? Is that a feature that built in, or is that like just a use case of human layer?
Yeah, and it's a great question. Yeah, these are kind of the two main form factors that we've built in. And actually, I'll add also, in the approve reject workflow, when you reject something, you're required to give feedback, because the only way you're going to get a better answer is if you tell the LLM like why it's wrong, because then it can try again and usually incorporate that feedback. But yeah, the other thing we have is sort of, so that's transparent to the LLM. The LLM thinks it's sending an email. It might not even know that human approval is happening until the rejection comes in. But the other one is if an LLM outputs a tool called output structured output that says, hey, I need help here. I've been told in the prompt to get feedback, or I've tried calling a bunch of tools and none of them are working and I'm just stuck, or I'm in a browser session, I need a 2FA code and I need to pull in a human to come in and like get me unstuck and then I can proceed.
Oh, that's one use case. Oh, cool. Okay.
So yeah, but it's the LLM is deciding to call a human, and so you can human layer lets you expose a variety of tools. You can give one tool to contact one person, or you can, hey, here's 5 tools. Here's how you can contact the head of ops on Slack. Here's how you can email the CEO. Whatever roles that you want to give the LLM access to, you can kind of code that in.
Awesome. So and additional context as well. All right, Dex, I think, tell me where Human Layer is going from now on, and how can folks find you, and how can they use this, and we'll close there.
Yeah, I'm Dex. I'm Dex Forthy on Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn. We are online at humanlayer.dev. And we are, again, I love the AI Takers community. I'm working with, at some point we're building a venture-backed business, so we have to find a way to make money. But my favorite thing is getting in the weeds with indie hackers who have really interesting use cases, who are building really groundbreaking things with AI. And on the where we're going part, I was gonna try not to say the A word, but I'll put it in this context. Sam keeps talking about AGI is gonna look something like a senior engineer that you can kind of just give some task and it'll go off and figure this out and come back to you with an answer. And I think what we have today is kind of more like summer interns. And if you ask me, I would say, hey, look, go research all this stuff, draft a bunch of emails, and then come sit with me, and I'm gonna review them with you, and then we can go send them out. And you'll learn over time from those reviewing and coaching sessions. And I think that is a big step towards something that feels a lot more like a virtual teammate, like a virtual coworker. And so the future is we want to be at the core of the next generation of really awesome AI experiences.
Yeah, I appreciate this, and I'm really happy that you came and we chatted about Human Layer as well, because I know how hard it is to build infrastructure and middleware layer stuff that gets in the way, and that specifically is like, oh, that's exactly what I need for some of my projects as well. Agents mean a lot of things as well, and for a lot of them, getting to, hey, stop and ask the human is something that people will maybe don't even know they need, and when they do need, they don't even know that they can build this, and when they start building this, they don't even know that like multiple people are needed. There's a whole level of complexity there that the Human Layer is taking care of.
When people try it for the first time, they're like, oh, now I get it.
Yep.
And then they text me 2 days later. It's like, it was crazy. I had an agent running on my laptop, and I went out to get food, and it slacked me about something that I needed to pay attention to, and I was able to pull right back in. And I was like, that's the magic.
Yeah.
And we want to build more of that.
So last thing, maybe can you run through the channels that currently you support and channels that you are planning to support?
Yeah, so we just launched email this week. We've had Slack for a while. That one's kind of the tightest and most thought through. Sounds like we need Telegram to make your stuff work. And then we're looking at Discord. As soon as someone offers me enough money, we'll build MS Teams support. I don't know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then we also have a private alpha for like RCS, SMS, WhatsApp, kind of these more
messages,
consumer-facing things.
Yeah, messages supports RCA or whatever format that they now support with Android. So
RCS is it's going to be message soon. I think it's like end of the year. All the carriers are planning to have RCS going.
Amazing. All right, so Dex, thank you for coming to ThursdAI, folks. This was Dex from Human Layer. Go follow him wherever he is. If this fits your agent use case, give Human Layer a shout out. As a reminder, if I ever do sponsor content always on ThursdAI, you will know. I just met Dex, and I thought it was cool, and I thought that many of you will enjoy this on the stage and maybe for your projects. Let me bring some of the folks back up. Wolfram and Nistan, as a kind of recap, my Mac seems to be doesn't want me to do this. I'll bring you folks back up. LDJ looks like it's dropped. All right, folks, we've been at this for 2 hours and something. Yam, welcome back up, and LDJ will join us as well. Let's do a little recap, super quick, and then we're gonna let you go for the rest of Thursday. We did not get O1, did we?
Oh, breaking news. Well, at least News Research announced you can just chat to their model now. You can go to hermes.newsresearch.com. So that's HERMES.newsresearch.com, and I think that's their 70B. I'm trying it now. It's pretty good. Yeah, it's just their.
Is that Hermes 3?
70B. Yeah. So they launched their own UI, and I think you can.
Wait, is that Forge?
Yeah. I think so. I don't know. You want to look at the.
Right, folks,
it looks like it's a Next.js app. All right, fine. You can maybe look at the code.
Search.com. Hermes chat. It doesn't look like it's Forge. Okay. I'm waiting for Forge. Forge is the one that I want. But let's see if this is it. Let me log in.
And it's like free of charge. I can just.
Yeah, you can just.
All right.
It works. I
Cool.
just dumped in a prompt. I literally just tried it.
Yeah, I tried it now. Yeah.
It's pretty
Really
good to
cool.
me.
Wait. Okay, so somebody wants to show it. Folks.
I wish I could.
Yeah. All right. Where's the reasoning stuff? Is this it? I keep waiting for Forge. I don't know if this is the Forge stuff. System prompt is active. No, I don't see reasoning here. Okay, so I'll be waiting for Forge from News Research, where you can actually see reasoning steps, and that's something that they've announced. So shout out to Hermes. We're gonna add
They
this
are
to the show
going to
notes.
collect such a great data with this.
Yes.
This is such a great mechanism.
This is a great way to
collecting
collect data. Absolutely. Right, we're gonna add this to the show notes for folks who are just joining, and then yeah, let's do our usual. Let's do a recap of everything we talked about for the past 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then we're gonna let you go for the rest of Thursday. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Here it is. Here's a TLDR, everything we've talked about on ThursdAI, November 7th. We've been at this for 2 hours and 15 minutes. For the first time, we saw each other in video, which was super cool. And I think we'll do this because one of the things we've talked about this week is this super cool voice model that sounds very, very, very human-like and podcast-like. And you guys know NotebookLM. And so this is a... let me just open this if my computer will allow. Voice model. Oh no, I'm struggling. Let me start again. Okay, so ThursdDev is something we've covered super quick, and it has a full duplex audio end-to-end model. It's Apache 2 licensed, and it kind of sounds like two podcasters are having conversation. I was afraid when we were streaming this that you guys will not know if that comes from me or from Fred Audio, and so because of this, we'll try to switch to video because that didn't catch up yet. So this is one of the things we covered in the open source thing. We talked about small models. We talked about Small LM2, which is a tiny model series from Hugging Face. Small LM is a series of models. 1.7 billion parameter, 360 million parameter, and 135 million parameters, trained on 11 trillion tokens of curated datasets from Hugging Face. Nistan shared his experience with small models over there. There has been a few small models this week. The Meta released Mobile LLM as well, and AMD released Olmo, which is 1 billion parameter model. On the opposite side of that, we got Tencent Hunyuan. I butchered this, but Hunyuan Large, which is an insane transformer MOE, 389 billion parameter MOE with 52 billion parameter active. It has a 256,000 in the context window, 256,000 tokens in the context window. It comparable to Llama 3.5 70B and even 405B, and we had some conversations about this being somewhat useful for specific things, but not that useful, although they did some interesting things during the pre-training as well, so that was super cool. And we've chatted about the voice stuff in the open source as well. So obviously we chatted about ThursdDev, which was released in Apache 2 license. We also talked about Fish Agent, which is a tiny 3 billion parameter model, speech-to-speech, and it was trained on 700,000 hours of multilingual audio, and that one is continued pre-trained of Qwen 2.5 with like 200 billion audio and text tokens, and zero-shot voice cloning, which sounds cool. And so you could probably swap out the underlying models over there. So we kind of like bunched the open source LLMs and audio stuff together this conversation. Wolfram? Oh yeah. All right. And then also we mentioned that Olama has now improved vision support as well. Then we switched to big companies, LLMs, and APIs, and we talked about OpenAI buying and OpenAI chat.com. We didn't really talk about that much because like there's nothing too much to say besides the fact that it cost $15 million probably. So if you go now to chat.com, you'll start a conversation with ChatGPT.com. And then we did focus on Anthropic releasing Claude Haiku 3.5. Haiku is the smaller and cheaper brother of Claude Sonnet 3.5. We announced the announcement that Claude the announcement that Anthropic made about Haiku 3.5 getting released was a few weeks ago. Finally, we're getting access to it via APIs. We talked about some of the performance, including MMLU Pro of 65% and human eval of 88%, which is like great for coding model. Multilingual math is pretty good. Math generally is 69%. It's very, very comparable, like very good model for multiple things. It's in the category of the fast and cheap models, although we talked about it not being that cheap, right? So this is, Haiku is competing with 4.0 Mini, and it's competing with Gemini Flash, and right now it's priced at $1 per million tokens, which is around 5 times more than the previous Haiku, and $5 per million output tokens. So we talked about why would Anthropic upgrade its price with the new release and not keep it the same or make it cheaper, which is sometimes they'll do. Very interestingly, they'll probably make it cheaper soon to just create another round of news. But yeah, Haiku is great. Go test it out. I specifically shared that Gemini Flash, for me right now, is the winner of the fast and cheap ones. And I'll tell you why in a second. And then we were waiting or OpenAI dropping O1 full on us, and then we didn't get those breaking news, but we did cover that this week folks did get access to O1, and we did chat about the full O1 version from OpenAI. As you guys know, that right now O1 Mini and O1 Preview is what we have access to. O1 Full would be a significant jump on top of O1 Preview, and folks did get access to this, multiple folks this week for a brief period of time. Some folks like Pliny already jailbroke it. We know for a fact that it has vision, so you can upload images, it will understand those images as well. And we speculated what else it might have, like access to system messages, maybe tool use. All those things were announced in Dev Day that they're coming. We were just waiting today. Maybe still it will come today. But we did not get O1 so far. Hopefully soon. And then we also covered that xAI now offers $25 a month free of Grok API credits, Grok with a K, only until the end of 2024. You get access to Grok Beta with 128,000 tokens in the context window, and the REST API is compatible with OpenAI and Anthropic. $5 on the input, $15 on the output. Not super cheap for that model, but you can use it for some less restrictive stuff, let's say, at least on the per Wolfram, at least on the non-voky kind of questions that you have. A reminder on xAI, you don't get access to the X ecosystem. So this model will not get you tweets. This model will only reply with LLM-based stuff. If you ask it for tweets, it will hallucinate. So it's not like you get access with this payment to the whole X ecosystem. That API still costs a lot of money. We also chatted, interestingly, about Etched, and Sonu announced a first transformer ASIC that etched it into the silicon and shows an incredible 500,000 tokens per second on their website. We talked about what ASIC means, and then we also talked about how supposedly this announcement is crazy and incredible, and then Nisten came in and said, hey folks, let's wait for the actual chip to show up and people will hold this chip and show us actual performance, and that was great. Definitely, if you want to hear about what ASIC means, tune into that conversation. It's great. We will be waiting for the actual thing to show up with actual metrics. But yeah, 500,000 is a metric that we've cited, and it's an interesting conversation regardless. In this week's Buzz, the category where I chat about everything related to weights and biases, we recap the hackathon that we had this week with AI Tinkerers and Google Cloud and a bunch of other folks here at the Weights and Biases office. There's a reason why I'm still in San Francisco, by the way. And the recap was great. We had a bunch of very great projects happening here. I did a demo with Chef. I did a demo with Chef that raffled the Meta Ray-Bans and just yelled at people. It was really, really fun. Apparently, if you have a Muppet, it can just yell at people and curse them out, and like nobody cares because it's a Muppet. So it was really fun. I also mentioned how I was able to raffle and then show off Weave and how Weave helped me to build this hardware device. It was really great. During the hackathon theme was human in the loop. So a bunch of the projects that were built around this theme, and the recap of this will be in the show notes as well. And then finally, I was very happy to say that Fester, the Halloween toy that I told you all about, the write-up that's like 3,000 words and the video of like 7 minutes of reactions and actual kiddies coming up to my door on Halloween and all these things is finally done. Feels like building it was one thing, writing about this and like delivering this was a completely different project separated from that. So that's also now out. If you go to 1b.me/Halloween, I will add this to the show notes. You'll see the video and you'll see how I build this. Honestly, for next year, I'll be able to follow this and build something even cooler. Basically, a Raspberry Pi connected to this Chinese toy. I even got a link to the Amazon that you can, the Amazon Chinese robot that you can skeleton, sorry, that you can buy and do one of your own for next Halloween, or you can rig up a Santa for this Christmas if you want. You still have time, still have like a month. So if you want to rig up a Santa that like gives custom greetings for Christmas, that's possible. I gave you all the instructions as much as I could, even wiring diagrams that O1 helped me with. No, that was 4.0, sorry. So the whole recap is there, including reactions. It performed wonderfully. I'm very, very happy. I even went to school of my kids in daycare after the ThursdAI last week, and I'm going for Dead of the Year. We'll see, we'll see. And the last announcement this week was is that we're going to NeurIPS and AWS. So we're going to be at all the major conferences that are upcoming. Come visit us in the booths and say hi and give us a high five. In the vision and video category, we talked about Mochi, the video, I think it's Genmo, I believe. Am I confusing things? Yeah, Genmo, Mochi. We chatted with the folks. We chatted with AJ. I think we chatted with AJ last time. Mochi is now down to 12 gigabytes, and you'll be able to run this soon, very soon, on consumer hardware. That's very interesting. There's, I think, another model, but we didn't cover this as well. And we, lastly, in AI Art and Diffusion, there's now a HD version of Flux 1.1 Pro, and that looks just incredible. We didn't have a chance to get into this, but it absolutely looks incredible. And then, after all of these news, we didn't get any breaking news this week too much. We covered, we did get one piece of breaking news that Hermes, from our friends at News Research, is now online, and you can get it at hermes@newsresearch.com. Thanks to Nistan for bringing us those breaking news. You can go chat and give News Research some training data as well. And then we had a conversation with Dex from Human Layer about how agents should be asynchronous, but they should be able to ask you questions and then reach out to you wherever you are. If you're going to get groceries, an agent is running into a question, it should be able to ping you and say, hey, what do I do in this situation? So that conversation was great with Dex, and if you want to build and listen to that, definitely listen to this. This was everything that we've talked about on ThursdAI for November 7th. I was really, really happy to see all my co-hosts for the past year and a half or even more in first time in video. Hey, folks. It was awesome. I think we'll continue doing this. Everybody who joined us on Spaces, we welcome you to join us on. We're cross streaming on YouTube. I think even LinkedIn. I think that is happening, and definitely YouTube, definitely X video as well. We also have a community now on X. Join the ThursdAI community, 1,600 strong. So this was the debut of the community spaces. There's a bunch of new things happening. As we heard, audio only format may be not for long, and AI could take over that, but smiling faces in video and Nistan skeptical takes with faces and Yam's Yam smiles as well, and all of us here in the live in video I think works as well. So I really appreciate everybody's time. Nistan, if you want to take a quick selfie or shout out, what do you want to do over there? And then we'll let everybody go.
We should probably just do this next time and have the I'll take well, so you can share it like right in the X space in a small tiny window.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll do
show
that.
How, because that was very, very handy, I felt like last time.
Yeah, we'll do X Spaces with video
this,
as well next time. Absolutely. So you'll have your choice of where you are in X Spaces. We'll be everywhere. I promise you. All right, folks. With this, thank you so much for joining ThursdAI for November 7th. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. I do this all the time. You guys don't get to see this. This is the first time you get to see this. I do the little dance every damn time that I finish ThursdAI because I'm tired. No, I'm just kidding. Because I'm full of energy to go and edit this now. So those of you who are did not listen to the full show and want to read or listen, ThursdAI.news is where you sign up to the newsletter and the podcast. We're published on all major podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere where you get your podcast. And you can subscribe to the newsletter as well to get all the show notes and links. They will be sent hopefully today, always on the same day, always, even if I'm late. All right, folks, have a happy Thursday. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Have a great week. Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Yoink. End stream. End stream.